Bill, how
Hey,
you
how's it
doing?
going? Working hard.
Well, hello to everybody that's in the chat. I just wanted to welcome you all in for this interview. Most of you probably already know Gil, but for those of you who don't,
My other computer had I just finally YouTube finally kicked up on the other computer. I forgot to mute it.
okay, but for those of you who don't know Gil, this is Gil Patton, and he is the host of two channels. One of the channels is Graymanprepping, and the other channel is Camppatton Family Compound. And the focus of his channels are all about do-it-yourself, self-reliance, being prepared for natural events and other unexpected events. And, back in the 70s, this used to be called being a survivalist. And now it is known as being a prepper. Hi, Maccabeus. Good to see you. Yes, yes, CR, Gray with an A. Yes, Gray with an A for
The
gray man.
American way of spelling it. E is the European way of spelling it.
So I have some questions here to ask you, Gil.
Mm,
Are you ready?
yep.
Okay. Hey, Uncle Al, good to see you. Thank you for coming in. So, Gil, when did you first become interested in being a survivalist, now known as a prepper, I guess?
Let me get Mr. Peabody up here, and we can hop in the Wayback Machine and go way back into the '60s.
Oh, my.
Yeah. So it was when I was in Boy Scouts and doing the Wilderness Survival Merit Badge, Emergency Preparedness Merit Badge, Fire Safety Merit Badge, all that sort of stuff. And actually, even before I was actually in Boy Scouts, when I was in Cub Scouts, my older brother, 3 years older than me, he was in the Scouts, and their Scoutmaster took him on a hike up in Tujunga Canyon in Southern California, and they went. How do I do this without? What the heck? He's probably no longer alive now anyway, so he's not going to feel that pain. He didn't plan it very well,
Oh,
and they went up and got lost.
oh my goodness.
And so, and they were lost overnight, and they didn't come back next day, and they were, and so we went on up to the command post up there with all the other parents and families of those that are out there. And I wandered off with my parents over to the actual command center. I'm there looking at the map, and I'm looking at it and stuff. And he goes, and one guy goes, "What are you doing?" "Oh, my brother's one of the ones lost. They're right there." I pointed to a spot on the map. He goes, "How do you know?" I just know. I know the Scoutmaster. I know what he's going to do. They're up there right now. And he goes, "Okay." And he got on the radio. The helicopter was flying, and I froze. He got on the radio. The helicopter. The helicopter told him, "Hey, check out this over there." And they went over there. "Yeah, they're here. They're by the water tower."
Oh my goodness.
And I've always had a sense with maps and where someone's going to be, where I need to go. I can look at a map and I go traipsing off to an area I've never been before, and I'll be right on target. So that's when I first started getting into emergency preparedness and stuff like that. And then, of course, with the once I became a Boy Scout, earning the different merit badges. But it took off really big. I'm forgetting the date now. In June 1971, with the Sylmar earthquake.
Yes.
And so with the Sylmar earthquake in 1971, that's when it really expanded, because now it's seeing other aspects to emergency preparedness with the freeways collapsing. And all of a sudden, the next day, all the toilet paper was sold out in all the grocery stores.
Oh my goodness.
It was an earthquake, folks. You should, none of the sewers are backed up. Nothing's backed up. Why are you all buying all the toilet paper? And then I forget what, there was something else that was sold out right after toilet paper at the grocery stores. I think it was chili and beans was gone.
Huh.
And it's like, so that's when I really started doing it. And that year, my mother was asked by the Relief Society president down there in Southern California to make up a presentation to give to all the different Relief Society chapters around down there a presentation on earthquake preparedness. And she's sitting there, she goes, I don't know what to do. I said, type, and I'll tell you what to type. And we worked it out. She typed, I dictated, talked about it, all the stuff I've been looking up in at school and stuff on earthquakes and stuff. And the interesting thing was the presentation she put out was about 12 pages long. And unbeknownst to us, about 10 years later, a fire captain for the Los Angeles Fire Department plagiarized it.
Oh my goodness!
And put it on the website as it was almost on there in its entirety. Whole pages were word for word exact, and then some other stuff. And it was on their website until 2009, when the federal security director and I were talking. I said, "Oh, I found this on neat thing." Brings it up. I'm reading it. I go, wait a minute, I wrote that back in 71 with my mom. And so I went back in my mom's stuff, dug through it, found the original typed stuff, the original mimeograph master for it, took pictures, sent it to the Los Angeles Fire Department, said, hey, I wrote this, put my name on it. I don't care, I don't want any other, just put my name on it as I was the original author. They took it down.
Oh my goodness.
Rather than share credit.
Oh my goodness. The games that people play.
Oh yeah. But so that was back in 71. At that point we were living down in Southern California, but prior to that, in the early 60s, I was living up in Northern California, a town called Martinez, which is famous for two things. It's the home of the martini. That was invented in a bar in downtown Martinez for a gold miner coming back. He goes, give me something with vermouth or whatever, and they made him a thing called, they call it the martini. And then the miner went to San Francisco and said, hey, yeah, they got this drink called a martini, and and then it gained worldwide popularity. The other thing was the first lowrider car was built in Martinez and went down to a car show in L.A., and that started the LA Lowriders.
Oh my goodness. Huh.
But yeah, so in the 60s, my parents had an acre and a quarter there. We had chickens, cows, horses, pigs, goats.
Oh, wow.
And so, and then when my dad went back to work for my step grandfather down in Southern California there, we went on a smaller property. We didn't have those animals anymore. We left them up there with my grandmother and my cousins to deal with. But,
So David Lynn, Prepper Principal, is putting the links up to everybody who's watching. That's great. Thank you, David. Thank you very much.
And if you haven't checked out David's channel, check it out. He's got some good stuff over there. He's got his taco talks.
Yes, he does. I enjoy his taco talks.
Yeah. In 75, so the fall 73 school year, we moved up to Fredonia, Arizona, on the north rim of the Grand Canyon. And while there, I got into wilderness search and rescue.
Oh, wow.
Because there were the main guys on it were in the town of Fredonia going out and rescuing the idiots that went out to the Grand Canyon and got lost and were doing stupid stuff. And so I got into that, both summer and winter rescue.
Wow. I bet that was a huge learning experience.
Oh, it was fun. It was great. Learned new things. Learned how to do search and rescue from horseback. It was fantastic.
Yeah.
And which really surprised them because, there's a city kid from LA. Let's put him on a horse. They didn't know that my dad, prior to him meeting my mom, the year he met my mom, he dropped out of the rodeo circuit. But for the previous 10 years, He was in the top 10 for 10 years for all around cowboy.
Yeah.
So, and we grew up with horses, and we learned to ride horses, barrel race, calf rope and stuff. So, oh, here's a horse. And I just whipped, I saddled. He go, where'd you learn to do that? Hopped on and go, my dad hasn't told you he was in the top 10 for 10 years.
Yeah.
So,
well, that's good. You were able
skills,
to skills.
Any skills you can learn like that, you may think, oh, that's just recreational. But in an emergency situation, knowing how to ride a horse and stuff, it can be very life-saving.
Right. Right. So I guess your parents were instrumental in getting you involved in preparing for unexpected events.
Yeah, but not along that lines like you would think. My grandmother, who was living with us in the 60s, was born up by Coeur d'Alene, Idaho. She was one of 15 children.
Wow.
They had no electricity. They had no running water. They had a 3-seat outhouse. And they canned just about everything. And, and so, she told us stories about up there all the time and talked about going hunting and stuff. And, when she would start telling those stories, then my mom would relate stories when she was a teenager going hunting with her uncles out there, in northern Idaho and into Oregon. So coming from a farm, homesteading, ranch farm type situation for my grandmother probably influenced me a lot in wanting to know about homesteading, growing stuff, and all that other stuff.
Right.
And also influenced my mom as well.
Right. So your grandmother must have been born in the 1800s.
1899.
Right. Right.
And she was number 11, I believe it was, of 15 kids.
Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. Wow. Well, and homesteading was basically just the way life was, unless you lived in the city. But even people who lived in the city, people nowadays cannot possibly imagine what living in the city used to be like in the 1800s. It's certainly what is not like it is now. So, yeah. Yeah. So, so as a prepper, as a survivalist, what are your goals?
Probably the best way to describe it is thrive, not survive.
Oh, great.
So you don't want to just survive. You want to be able to thrive.
Yes.
So when everybody else is just scraping along, just surviving, you're getting bigger, better. So if a Tawaki situation happens and the government's dead for 20 years and there's no electricity, there's no, you're the one coming out as the millionaire by the time it comes done.
Yeah. So have you had any challenges being a survivalist?
Time. Right. Time to do everything, learn everything. I've been teaching at emergency preparedness fairs, doing radio and television interviews from back in the 70s, the late 70s and early 80s. Things change constantly. And so you go, well, what do you mean things change? Well, back in the 70s, the early 70s, the Los Angeles Fire Department had a program going out, putting on these little, fire safety classes and stuff at all the different fire stations. They made it a big community event. And one of the things they were teaching was you take the old cans of coffee, the ones that are about that big around and about that tall. And once it's empty and stuff, you save the can, you should get 2 lids from it. You put, you punch holes in the metal bottom, put the lid on, fill it full of baking soda, put a lid on it, and that's your emergency by the stove fire extinguisher, because real fire extinguishers were cost prohibitive at the
Right.
time. And so they say, hey, if you get a fire, then you just pop the one off the bottom, you kind of shake it over there, and if it's not going out, you pull off the top and you shake it side to side and get more on it. Well, the problem was people would panic, pull it off the top, and whoosh.
Oh.
And what would happen? All that soda would hit the frying pan, splash.
Oh.
And
Wow.
so after about, I think it was about 8 years, they stopped doing that, and they say, don't do this anymore, because people panic and stuff, so don't do that anymore. So things change.
Right.
There, all the different fire starting techniques and stuff. Back then, it was have a couple Zippo lighters, have a can of Zippo lighter fluid, have a couple boxes of strike anywhere matches, and stuff like that, and then have some candles, and especially birthday candles for starting fires. Then it went on to, oh no, you got to have flint and steel. We got to go back really old time flint and steel. Like, no, you got to learn how to do a fire bow and all these other things. And we're like, and a bunch of us are going, no, you don't need to learn that. If you have plenty of these other things, you don't need to spend time on that.
Yeah.
But if you have everything else, then that's a skill to start learning, just for recreation and fun and knowledge. Because it gets very hard if you're in a bad situation, you're trying to start a fire with a fire bow. Murphy's Law. You can be going, you can be sweating so hard, it's not starting, and you're dripping sweat onto your kindling.
Right. So David says, in an extended grid down situation, there will be an initial period of mass chaos. City services, law enforcement, and medical services will break down.
Yeah. And the thing is, so for an extended grid down situation, you got to clarify that. Oh, is that going to be a week? Is that going to be a month? Is that going to be 3 months? When I was working for a Homeland Security, there was a time frame that we did studies on that. A couple days, a week, not bad. 10 days, not bad. A month, you're starting to go down that slippery slope. 2 months, you're going down there on a toboggan. 3 months, it's off a cliff.
Right.
Because in 3 months' time of no power for a city, you're going to have a lot of people dying.
Right.
Because grocery stores aren't going to be opening. And if they are, it's going to be it's going to be really slow on doing stuff. Trying to get food in and out of a blacked out city is going to be really hard. So, power grid outage. Most people don't realize it. It starts off, and then it starts getting worse, and then after a while it starts, and really quick it just goes nosedive really quick. You reach a breaking point where people can't. It's like it's no longer an adventure, and now it's, I'm panicking. I don't know what to do, and boom. And David tried. People with medical conditions, elderly, are the first ones to. People don't like this, but the terminology is the die-off. There's going to be a die-off on an extended situation like that.
Right.
Okay, who needs a smoke alarm battery? Do I have it here? Hang on, I gotta see if I can find that. I have a picture. It's really funny. If I find it here, dang, it's on the other computer. Basically, it's called the Redneck's fire detector. It's a Jiffy Pop hanging up above a door. So you hear the Jiffy Pops. I go, oh, we got a fire somewhere in the house.
Oh my goodness, that's funny. So what do you think are your most important accomplishments?
Marrying the staff sergeant.
Oh,
Number one.
Bravo. Explain that.
We got married when I was 30. And I could, any ladies take note. And I froze. Any woman that I was looking at that might be compatible and stuff, they liked riding horses or doing gardening, but they didn't like hunting. They didn't like hiking in the wilderness. It's like no, you need to be well rounded. They like growing a garden, but they didn't like raising chickens or beef or cattle. You got to expect to have the whole pioneer, homesteader, pilgrim mentality. And when I met my wife, she was in the Army, 91st Division, and basically I bought a house a couple blocks from where my parents were because it was cool. It was on a 1/3 acre rather than a 1/4 acre. Had a big shop in the back, and it had extra bedrooms that I could rent out to help pay for the house. Well, she was the second one to rent a room. And I was, there were a couple others that looked like they're going to be better, and they kind of flaked and stuff. And she really wanted to rent. She kept bugging, okay, I'll rent the room to you. She moved in that weekend. I went hunting. I was gone, and I came back with a deer. And she's like, "Whoa, food!" And a little light went off in her head.
Right.
But she was raised on a small farm in Fremont, California. I think they had 20 acres of apricot trees.
Oh, wow.
So she grew up gardening with apricot trees and stuff. All right. She's in the Army. She knows how to shoot. She's goes hiking. And she likes gardening. She understands, all the other stuff and everything else. Oh, and she was an accountant.
Oh,
that was her major in college was accounting. She has her bachelor's in accounting, and we hit it off. And after I got back from from hunting, about the 3rd day, the other roommate came running in from the garage had been converted by the previous owners and had its own bathroom and stuff, and had a door into the kitchen. She came in, "There's somebody outside!" freaking out. And so Chris is in there with her in the that's the staff sergeant Chris in the dining room in the middle of the house. What do we do? What do we do? I said, "Shh." Walked back in the room, came back out with my bullpup shotgun. I'll be right back. And the one roommate was like, oh, and my wife was like, "Oh, cool." And so I snuck out the back door, went around the house and stuff. Raccoons making noise by the garbage can. So the next night, she came in, knocked on my bedroom door and says, "Can we talk?" And we sat up and we talked about all sorts of things in the middle of the night. She was just bored because she had been living with her grandmother up in Martinez for the last 2 years. And she was bored and stuff. And when she moved in with me, she used that as an excuse to dump her ex-boyfriend.
Oh.
He was getting on her nerves, and she needed an excuse. So when she went, she go, "Sorry, I'm busy. No, get a new house, can't see you anymore." Anyways, and we talked and talked and talked, and about a month later, we were engaged.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, it was just like, dink, we fit.
That's great.
And that's we got married in, got to get the dates right. Got married in 88. Bought the house in 87. Got married in 88. My grandmother died in 88, and my dad died in 89. So we're coming up on. So we got 88. We're coming up on our 35th this year.
That's great. It's so interesting that your greatest accomplishment is marrying the staff sergeant. I never expected you to say that, but after you've explained it, I can certainly see why.
Yeah, and I'm going to take it a step further for anybody out there who's just beginning to become a prepper. She was an accountant, and she was in charge of all the paying stuff for her unit of drill sergeants, besides going out and being a drill sergeant too. So she was in the office, and she go, okay. So we got married. She started looking at what we had on what loans I had on the house and stuff. The owners carried a second of $4,000 or $5,000. I bought the house for 142, and then she started looking at, and I froze. And she started looking at things about everything going on. I think it was about 4 years after we got married, maybe 3 years after we got married. She got us to got the house refinanced for us. We were went from a 30-year loan down to a 15-year loan, and it cost us only $58 more a month.
Wow.
Because she was able to get she got a loan that had such a lower interest rate on it.
That's great.
And then during the really good years, besides stuff going into the savings, she was paying extra off on the principal.
Right.
So she make the rent one payment, and then write a second check and write on it principal only.
Right.
And so by I'm not sure how fast, I can't remember, but I think the house got paid off after we went to the 15-year loan. I think it was in 13 years it was paid off.
That's great. That's great.
No, David, it's not my internet. I found out it's not the internet. It's the friggin' computer.
Oh.
The computer's video card starts to overheat and goes, and it starts going again.
Oh, no. Huh.
Yeah. Yeah, it was a $400 quote gaming computer that I got at Costco years ago.
Oh, okay. So Gil, do you ever feel like you're done prepping?
If anyone says they're done prepping, they're lying to themselves.
Yeah.
They're lying to themselves big time. I've done some videos on the different books I have and read and everything else, and I'm still getting more books. I am fine. I'm fine. Now that I've quote retired, and I'm able to spend more time out here trying to get the land here ready for Chris to move up here and for us to be totally self-sufficient up here. The more I do, the more videos I watch from gardening channels, like Howie Food Forest Permaculture, yours, Old School Prepper, White Family Farm. In fact, Old School Prepper just popped. That's the response to her video on garlic. Now, she just posted stuff on garlic I didn't know about. Really cool video. And stuff pick up from David as well. And CB's in the house. Wait a minute, I got to do it right. It's CB at Hugo Homestead. And there are so many good gardening channels, and then of course Daniel and DJ at Arms Family Homestead. I've learned a lot from them, watching them. And so, because I haven't been actually quote gardening since 1969, and when Chris and I got married, I had a little garden thing going on, and she goes, "Can I take over the garden?" Okay. Happy wife, happy life. And so she was doing all the gardening stuff in the back. I finally got the lawn in the front built up and leveled, everything done right. Got a nice lawn out there. She was happy. She was mowing it for about a year. She didn't like the way I mowed it because I made a pattern. She tried not to do patterns. And also she goes, would you be mad if I tore out the garden and tore out the lawn and put a garden out front? Go for it. And to me, it's like less mowing time, more food. So,
right.
But I'm always learning more. Even with what my wife is doing there, I'm learning more with the stuff she's experimenting with. She goes to all these master gardener classes and stuff, the shows and everything else, learns more stuff. And there's always stuff to learn. all right, my dad was an anomaly. He did not graduate high school. In fact, he dropped out on his junior year and went on the rodeo circuit. That's a whole
Wow.
nother story. But he went on the rodeo circuit, and his first year on the rodeo circuit, he made top 10 national.
Wow.
But during the off season, when the rodeo wasn't going, he learned to operate heavy equipment. He learned to be a blacksmith and farrier. He learned to be an electrician. He learned to be a machinist and froze. And he taught me and my younger brother a lot of skills and stuff. And he told us about an axiom, and he says, don't fall into the axiom. The axiom is jack of all skills, master of none. He goes, be a jack of all skills and a master of many.
Right.
You know, he taught me how working concrete, working on engines and stuff. One of my Christmas presents when I was 14, was a wood lathe.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, it was a wood lathe. So and he showed me how to work a wood lathe. Then he goes, it's not that much different than metal, except you got to go slower with metal. But you got the same thing. You had to go a little at a time, taking off, and he taught me a lot of things like that. And so I'm always learning more things. I would have loved a long time ago, if I had the time, I would have taken paramedic training.
Oh yeah.
There's so much medical training that I would love to have gotten, but it was like, okay, do I work and earn the money, get everything paid off, and get the kids through college, or do I take time away from work, go get all this medical training, and maybe tick off the wife? No brainer there.
Right.
And so it's like, that's why I follow Doc Bones and Nurse Amy all the time, and listen to all their blogs and all the videos, is to try to cram more knowledge into this limited space here.
Right.
And so, will I ever be done preparing? No. Physical preparedness? No. Because I might with physical preparedness. When I have 10 years worth of food where I don't have to garden or anything else, we have 10 years of food stored, then I would say we're pretty good on food. But then as you use it, you got to replace it.
Right.
And then water systems, you got to make sure that, until I have the 2 wells added to both properties here, have the water treatment filter system set up to be able to pull out of the irrigation canal, or to go pull water from the Snake River. I'm really not. I will always be nervous about water. So there's just a lot of things to it. And as I'm getting older, there's more stuff to learn as preparedness for older people. Yes, I'm an older person now.
Yes, I'm an older person too, and I'm finding out the same thing. Stuff that never crossed my mind. Yeah, exactly. Stuff that never used to cross my mind. Now I'm like, oh, huh. Well, I gotta remember to do that.
Yeah, and then there's the tools and stuff. I mean, it used to be, we just got a plain pair of tweezers. Well, tweezers have changed, and you find some of these specialized ones here that are super sharp and stuff, and you can actually get in there. If you've got a deep one, you can actually, with these, dig into the skin, grab it, and pull it out, rather than having to peel everything back to get to it.
I remember when you showed those on your channel, and I ordered those from Amazon that very night.
Cool, aren't they?
Yes, they are, and I gave them as Christmas gifts, even.
Yeah. And there's just so many things, good and bad, that are constantly being put out there on the market for preparedness. And sometimes this does not always hold true. Cheaper is not necessarily bad. Sometimes you can find a very well-built thing inexpensively. It's not cheap, it's inexpensive.
Right.
Or you can buy something that's really expensive and it's a cheap piece of poo-poo.
Right. Right.
And so one of the things, like I've talked about with Modern Refugees, I've made comments on his sometimes, and he's pinned my comments a couple times on this. When you're getting a new piece of equipment, test it out. Backyard camp with it. Do something. Use it so that but in a situation where if it fails, you're not up the creek.
Right.
You know.
Right.
And there are a lot of stuff I got. As I looked at it, researched, oh, this is going to be good. I got to get it out there. Second night using it, it breaks. It's like,
oh no.
Yeah, it's like, throw it away. It's trash.
Right.
And believe it or not, there are a lot of good things at Harbor Freight.
Yes.
My favorite, the LED light.
Oh yeah.
LEDs that way, hook on top and a magnet on the back. This, people talk about headlamps. The problem is, if you look at somebody to talk to them, you're blinding them. This, you hang it on here, or hang it up higher here. You hang it there, you can turn it on, and it's shining down. So it's lighting up where you're walking, and you got your hands free. Or you do it again, and it's shining in front of you, and you can still look at the guy next to you, not blind him. I love these things. And they give these away free with the coupons. Probably every 3 months, you get a coupon. No purchase necessary. Come in and get one. Well, you make copies of the coupon. You go in one day, you go the next day, and they don't care. In fact, they told me to do that one time because the more coupons they get back, the better they show in their statistics with their company.
Oh, that's interesting. I didn't know that.
Yeah. And so there's a lot of neat things, cheap things there you can get at Harbor Freight. I noticed lately though Harbor Freight stopped carrying the space blankets.
Oh wow, that's weird.
Yeah, they used to have them for 75 cents.
Right. Yeah,
and I when I was doing the CERT program, Community Emergency Response Team, teaching it, I tell the people, hey, I do not own stock in Harbor Freight. However, this is good there, this is good there, and it's cheap, and you get all this gear for under $10.
Right.
And so, and it was I tested that stuff out, and that was good. Now I've gotten some expensive stuff that I've used, and it is crap.
Huh.
And I just, get rid of it.
Right. Right. So I don't really know what David is talking about. He says, if you are using AGM deep cycle battery.
All right. What he's talking about is AGM is acid glass mat. It's like your regular car batteries or your deep cycle RV batteries. It's not the lead cells. It's a glass lead mat, acid mat one in there. Generally, those are totally sealed. So I got one around here. No, I don't. The original Goal Zero power stations, aka solar generators, had the acid glass mat batteries in them. Problem is, as with all lead acid batteries, they have like 300 cycles. Now, a cycle for that is if you take it from fully charged down to 0, that's one cycle. You take it from fully charged down to 75%, that's a quarter cycle. And you charge it back up, quarter cycle, charge it back up, quarter cycle, charge it back up, one cycle. And so you got 300 cycles for a lead acid battery type thing. The lithium batteries have about 1,500. The ion lithium phosphate batteries have about 3,000 to 5,000 cycles.
Wow.
Yeah, and some of those, you get some of those. When I replace some of mine, when they finally die on my my lead acid batteries I have for my emergency home built power station, when they finally die and I replace them with the lithium iron phosphate, because right now they're the same price per battery and the other one's better. Those batteries will still be in use for my grandkids to use them.
Oh.
Because at 50, once you hit that 5,000 life cycle, that's where it drops it from 100% to 80% efficiency. And you still you can still go years and years and years, and it'll be probably like 10,000 life cycles before it gets down to 20%.
So just to change gears a little bit, as far as growing zone, what growing zone are you in over there in eastern Idaho?
Depends which map you look at.
Okay.
A quarter mile to the west of us is the Snake River. So on the other side of the Snake River, some of the maps say that's 5A.
Oh, wow.
And we're 5B. Some of them say that's 5B. Oh, no, it's the other way around. That's 5B, we're 5A. Others say that's 5A, we're 4B.
Oh, wow.
And it's like, okay, the only time we got into 4B stuff was last year during the polar vortex.
Huh.
So it depends which map you look at. And it also depends, because the way we are here with the Grand Tetons to the east of us and the little trough here, how the weather fluctuates, whether we're going to have a 4B year, 5A, 5B, or 6A. We've had some 6A years here, according to the people. So you just need to have something that's good for multiple stuff like that. It's like for the fruit trees and stuff. The local nursery up the street here in Idaho Falls, Town and Country, puts out a newsletter, and they put out a PDF about the different types of cherry trees, apricot trees, apple trees, peach trees, and they say these are good, and they list the zones they are, and they say if you get something that's good for zone 4, it's good totally here no matter what happens. And the trees that were in the zone 4 trees survived the polar vortex,
right?
And
right.
didn't die out on that. Right. So you can always up here, even though like we get up into the high 90s and sometimes even into the hundreds, you garden by the block of the year it's in. So it's like we do the lettuce and the spinach and everything. Start indoors in late April, and you can move it out. We move it outdoors in May and put covers over it so it gets hardy and grows. And then and then if you do get a late frost on it, well, spinach and lettuce can handle a late frost. Tomatoes can't. Tomatoes you generally go outside a little bit later.
Huh. So what time of year do you plant your cucumbers?
I'm still learning on cucumbers. I did them the 1 year indoors. Summer of 21 indoors, I did some cucumbers, and I did some outdoors. And I'm learning where on the property I need to add more amendments, and to try to change the acidity of the or the alkalinity of the soil so that they'll grow a little bit better, and where they're are better protected from the wind. So I'm still learning a lot of stuff for the gardening here and how it's going to go. Next year, I have a decent garden.
So what would you say is your biggest challenge in the gardening department?
Time. Time is in more ways than what you're thinking, because like this year I'm inundated by weeds right now. I'm just trying to get the weeds back down, and in July I may be making another trip to California for a week. In August, my wife's coming up here in August. So in September, I'll be making another trip back there, trying to get stuff up here. And that's the problem right now this year for gardening is I got very little stuff in the garden, and I got what I have there can stand me being gone for a while. And I got a little drip hose. I can put drip hoses out there on it on a timer, so it gives it 15 minutes of water every day and twice a day, and I don't have to worry about it.
Right, right.
But it's time to get out there and be able to work in the garden and not be fixing up the house, not be fixing up the property, repairing fences, and doing all the other upkeep that needs to be done. That once I get it done, then it's like, okay, that's good for 10 years. Now I can go do this.
Yeah, yeah.
I mean, those who watched the videos on Camppatton Family Compound last summer on all the concrete work I did around here.
Yeah, that was amazing.
That concrete work eliminated a lot of weeds,
Yes.
eliminated a lot of mud, eliminated a lot of problems.
Yeah.
For the wintertime and the summertime.
Yes.
So
makes everything cleaner.
Now I get to go work on something else because that area, I don't got to dedicate much time to it during the summertime and spring and fall.
Right.
But yeah, they say being done with prepping, I'll be done with prepping 5 years after I'm buried.
Oh.
So, yeah.
So what was your greatest success in gardening then so far?
2 plants probably. The rainbow chard, which my wife had sent me the seeds for. Those things was off the hook, and I was just constantly feeding to the rabbits and kids across the street. Just 4 plants, and it's like, holy moly!
Right. So were they inside or outside?
Those were outside in the IBC totes. I had 4 of them in one IBC totes, and I'd go out there and cut a bunch down, cook some, take a bunch over across the street. Most of what I took over would go to the rabbits and chickens, and my daughter would cook a little bit over there. And then 2 days later, I'd be doing stuff. When we go back out there, it's like, holy crud, it's taller than me again. And I start cutting it back down.
Yeah.
But the tomatoes, I've had 2 good things on tomatoes. When I had the beefsteak out on the old patio here in the half 55-gallon barrels, they did really good there that year. That was summer of 21. The next year, last year, the lettuce did okay outdoors in one of the tubs, but the come on, brain, work. Cherry tomatoes, sweet sun orange tomatoes, I think it's called.
Oh.
Joe's giving away a bunch of those. But yeah, those 4 plants, I bring the grandkids over and they're popping away in there, and it's like they're like, we're done. And it's like, you guys pick any? Because I think those bushes were just absolutely loaded.
Wow, that's great. That's great. It's really good when you find a variety that grows well and produces well. You have to remember those. Yeah.
Yeah. Right now, I'm experimenting with the orange, the sweet orange sun gold, whatever it is. I got it in a 5-gallon bucket, so I'm kind of compressing the roots on it, and it's probably got. So long right now, it's in the I need to be watered stage. But it's probably got about 40 tomatoes on it already.
Wow.
And it only had 6 tomatoes on it when I put it out there before my last trip. So. Oh, all right. David has 27 eligible for his drawing. Get over there. See the video. I think you got to go back and comment on the last 5 videos. Something positive to be eligible for the drawing. So get over there and watch some 5 of Dave's videos, the recent ones on it, and comment.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah.
I won once, and it was such a wonderful box full of goodies that
Mhm.
anybody would be happy to win.
Yeah, I got a box of them. Yeah, right over there of the MREs from him.
Yeah,
So
great. So Hookah Homestead says raspberries, blueberries, and blackberries are rocking right now. That's
yeah,
awesome.
yeah.
I picked my first raspberries today.
Mm. Yeah,
Are
my
you getting
wife
berries,
has
Bill?
raspberries and blueberries and boysenberries, and they're this winter for California with all the rain and stuff they had was just off the hook. And she's been, she had a bunch of root, and so she had all these 1-gallon pots of blueberries and boysenberries. She's just putting down on the curb, and people, taking them. It's just,
That's
the one time I
awesome.
was there, she put like 30 of them down, and they were gone.
That's awesome. It's awesome.
Yeah, what I'd like to have done is taken some of those, go down by the creek going through the city park, and planted a bunch down there in the creek.
Yeah, that would
Problem is,
be nice.
problem is the city would probably go down there and spray poison to try to keep the creek clear.
Yeah, probably. Oh, so that brings up the subject of organic gardening. Is that the kind of gardening that you guys do, Gil?
Mainly, for the garden portion, yes. Ron Netzel, the Green Wizard, I got his book, and trying to get away from the quote I forget it's the NKP thing of the nitrogen, potassium, NK, potassium. I forget what the other one's called, but
Yeah,
the chemical additives,
right, right.
and basically, we got tons of composting going on. I get manure from the dairy and add it to the compost pile, and let stuff break down and stuff, and then use it in the pots and stuff. Hey, Star, and yeah. So the only thing that I use there are some quote chemical ones I use. Don't get mad, Howie, but they are pulled from a natural source. They are not what's the word? Petroleum chemically built. They're pulled from a natural source, and it's like the fly ash or for the potash and stuff, and those ones which occur naturally, and you can dig out of the ground around here or somewhere and dig them up and use them. Those are the ones that add to it, and try to find some of the good mineral stuff and put that in there so you have the minerals in with the soil. One of the things additives we use is the core. It's the coconut fiber,
Oh, yeah.
and it breaks down. It breaks down naturally and stuff, but it also works good for holding moisture in and increasing the acidity. And up here, we're very alkali in the soil. We're like a 10 or 11 on the alkali chart.
Yeah, we're same over here on this side.
Yeah, well, where Snake River goes, it's a volcanic basalt bed from here down through Twin Falls up through Boise, Napa, and not until you get into Washington County does it lose its alkalineness.
Right,
Which is one of the
right,
reasons I wanted to go to Adams County, because it's got a good pH 7 soil over there.
right, right. That is nice. It's very nice. I was just I was just trying to plant something the other day, and I have such hard clay soil that I put the point of the shovel down on top of the soil, and then I jump up in the air and land both feet on the shovel, and it, it might go in that far. It's so dense.
Here's something my wife and I both have learned in the last couple of years. There is a great tool, and I moved it out to the shop now for the garden. You can get different ones. They're like augers that you can put in a drill. And you're going to be doing it. You drill a hole down with it, and you're pouring water in as you're drilling, so it's breaking up the clay and stuff. Once it gets down, you just fill that up a couple times, and it expands out. And you drill down again, and once you have it down to depth, you just fill it full of water, and then you can start shoveling it out easier. You're not going to shovel in one day, or if you start ahead of time, it's like, all right, in 2 weeks I'm going to do that. Let me go out and start the water process now.
You know what? I used an auger once to plant, to make holes for some raspberry plants. And it was an auger that was like, I don't know, you can't see how, it was like that big around. So like a 1 gallon pot fit in with space around it. Yeah. And when the auger was pulled out, I put water in it. And do you know that the auger spinning around and around in the hole polished that clay, and it became impermeable, so that by the next day there was still the same amount of water in that hole?
Yeah, those big ones and stuff, unless you get one that on the bottom of the auger, it actually has replaceable teeth, and the teeth actually sticks out past the auger part, so it chews up, and basically it's always losing a little bit of slough back down the hole, so it never polishes the side.
Right, right.
Those are the ones. I learned that one during my 15-year stint as an operating engineer. Bucket teeth need to stick out past the bucket. Auger teeth need to stick out past the auger. Grinders need to stick out past the side of the grinder. If they don't, you're in trouble.
Right. So I had to use a crowbar and stab down in there and poke holes into the sides so that the water would percolate out. It was a real education for me, I'll tell you.
Let's see if I can bring this up. There we go. Okay, I'm going to share here. Present, share screen, entire screen. There we go. There, you can share that. Down below, just click on, there we go, yeah, see, different size augers and stuff. I have small ones like this one here. I have like this big one here. This one here, this one over here, the second to smallest one on the left-hand side here. That's the one probably that my wife and I use the most. I use this big one when I'm actually in the soft soil. I just need to get the hole dug. I don't want it caving in when I'm dropping a pot in, a 4-inch pot in it. Right. And so I'll use that one. So I got a bunch of them, and I use them all the time. And unfortunately, these don't have wide teeth on them. And if I ever find the carbide tips, extra carbide tips that my dad left me, I'll be putting the carbide tips on there, and so it actually will cut a little bit bigger. But
wow.
Yeah, exactly. Okay, let me go ahead and stop sharing. Boom, there we go. The all the old tools, horsepower, horse-drawn. Look, guys, you want to see some education? Look up on YouTube channel and for YouTube videos on draft horses and draft horse challenges. You'd be surprised at stuff and amazed of what the old school stuff used to be able to do. And if we ever have a total grid collapse, that's what we're going back to. But I have a family picture from my grandfather. Let me go back. Let me. Where's my great grandfather? And my dad was born in 1930. His father was born in 1880. So it was from my great grandfather to my grandfather down there in Riverside, California. Brought in one of those two brought in the first combine to Southern California. 80 mule combine, not the 40 mule team borax. 80 mules. This thing was wide. It had like 15 people on it working it, and it made a swath that was like, all right, we just did 20 acres.
Wow.
And it was pulled by mules, and it was mule powered, and it was a step up, and it was one of the first biggie things down there in Southern California for agricultural mechanicalization.
Right. That's amazing. So your family was in Riverside.
Yes, my dad was born down in Indio. His grandmother was a sheriff's matron, deputy sheriff at the prison for women. My dad was a deputy sheriff. His dad was his stepdad was the town marshal. His dad was a deputy sheriff and rancher. He was a rancher first and deputy sheriff second.
Alicia's in.
Hey, Alicia. And so,
the only thing about having horses or mules is you have to have the food for them. You have to have the pasture or, some way to feed them.
You have to have land. And so it's a catch-22 which came first, the chicken or the egg. And you have, to have horses, you got to be able to have the pasture, not only have the pasture, but be able to harvest part of the pasture for the wintertime.
Right.
Which means you also have to have the equipment to harvest it. And you got to have the right horses for pulling that big equipment, the draft horses. And then if you have horses for running cattle, that's the quarter horses or the Appaloosas. That's a different type of horse breed.
Right.
And and that's why when some of the ranches and stuff, that really started made it because once they hit that threshold of, okay, we have extra horses, we have extra pasture, we're able to get it all, we're able to sell some of the hay off, then they really grew.
Right.
And that was my grandfather's, my great grandfather's property down there in Riverside.
Yeah, it's a lot of work.
David, cutting horses. Quarter horses are good cutting horses. Actually, even Arabians, if properly trained, will make a good cutting horse.
Yeah. And up here in this cold country, you have to have the right kind of feed for the winter. You got
to have the mixture. You got to have the oats. You got to have the alfalfa. You got to have the barley too, and you got to know how much of each one to feed, so the horses don't get bound up.
Yeah.
Horse gets bound up. That's when you got to get the long glove on and the garden hose and go in and flush them out.
Right. I don't want to be part of that. Thank you.
I was twice. Both times I was the assistant. First time I almost didn't get out of the way in time. Second time I was on the side. Okay, I'm clear.
So basically what you're saying is it's a horse enema.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yep. Colic is one of the type things that you're being bound up with and getting and stuff. Yeah. But hey, if you love your horses, you'll do it.
Yeah, absolutely.
If your horses are your life and keeping you alive, you will do it.
That's right. I think about that, like if the grid went down, and we couldn't drive our cars anymore because eventually we ran out of fuel. We would have to have some mode of transportation, and a bicycle might get you somewhere. but a horse is probably going to be a
Yeah.
really valuable commodity.
I'm sorry I was laughing. CR's comment.
I saw that. Nature's oil change.
Yeah. So David probably know about that, and I know Uncle Al knows about that. Hey, Heritage or MB Heritage Farms.
David says to buy goats.
Yeah. My wife was thinking about getting some goats. Problem is, people have had goats in here, and unless the fences are top notch, A1, goats get out.
Right.
Or you got to have enough goats where they don't care. They're because goats are social animals. If you have enough of them and they can break up into two separate little or three packs running around the property, they're fine. They're not going to try to get out. But when you have just a couple of them, they're looking, where's another goat? I'm tired of this idiot next to me. Where's another goat? And they're going to be climbing out every way they can.
And if they get out, they get into everything, and they'll like eat your fruit trees. They'll eat the bark.
Or the neighbor's fruit tree and take the neighbors off at you.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah. So, yep.
Our goat, one set of goats, we had 4 goats there in Martinez. They're mainly my sisters and my cousins. They went and got them. And they built they had a pump house where the well pump was at, and they built off the back of it a corral for them. We don't know how they do it, but we go out there and there they are all up on top of the pump house. It's like, how did they get up on top of the pump house?
Yeah.
They didn't just jump out. They jumped up top of the pump house, stayed up on top of that thing, then jumped back down in their pen. Fortunately, they didn't go out, jump down elsewhere, and go. They jump back in their pens, but they go up there on the pump house, and then they'd be eye level to the kitchen window and be looking at the kitchen and the house and seeing what we're doing in the house, and they'd be just looking around, king of the mountain, and hop down.
Yeah. Yeah. I've thought about getting goats myself, but that's like you said, there's the fence problem, and you have to think about what's your purpose in having these animals.
Yeah.
Is it the milk, or is it the meat, or is it someone that will eat the weeds down, or there's just a lot of things to consider, and you have to realize that they have to have shelter, especially up here in this cold place, and they have to have water in the wintertime.
Yeah.
So,
we have a lot of that figured out here. It's just the time and the expense of putting up the fence. Most likely the goats we'd be getting would be meat goats, not milk goats.
Right. Boers.
And the boar or Spanish goats, the boar, Spanish, or Kiko goats, not
Right.
Kiko especially are parasite resistant, because those are ones that are the bred of the wild ones from Australia.
Oh, okay.
And so the strong survive, and the strong ones are a lot more resistant to the parasites and stuff. And they eat, they love small trees, shrubs, stuff like that, more than they do grasses. And so we think we'd get some of those. And for a shelter, cargo container, put the cargo container out there, put a door in it, one end, make a jog in it so the coldness doesn't come straight in the wintertime, that they go through, and you can put the water inside there as well. And then you just come, every couple of months, you just go out to open the big doors and sweep everything out. Yeah, we figured out, work smarter, not harder.
Right. So do you think that you will get goats?
Not until after the staff sergeant's up here full time.
Right.
And probably not for a year or two after she's up here.
Right. She's probably got to budget everything out before she wants to make a step in that direction.
Yeah, well, like we were talking on the phone, what she's been doing, you being the accountant, what she's been doing, every spare cent, she's been paying off the principal on the house across the street. And she said by the end of this year, it should be paid for. Then everything she's been paying on that is going to go on this house, onto principal, and start knocking it down.
That's good.
But once she comes up here, and I'm not running back and forth, and she's not running back and forth. I know. I was waiting for that, Al. We are planning on getting a couple beef cows, but once she's up here and we're not running back and forth, then I'm going to become unretired and actually working either over at the Idaho Supreme plant here, or go up and work at Home Depot or Walmart, something easy, you know. And so I'll be, doing that. And so we'll have a little extra income to quickly pay off this besides our retirements account.
That's a great idea.
Yeah. That's where budgeting comes in, and getting yourself prepped. And it's one of those things, if you get rid of your biggest expense, then you get rid of the smaller expenses quicker.
Right.
Or sometimes it's the second biggest expense you get rid of quicker, and you double that onto the big one like we're doing here now. But
David has a plan for you.
Well, actually, my oldest son is a stalker at the Martinez Walmart. He works the graveyard shift. And who's the daytime stalker? Mac. Southern Bless Homestead. He works at Walmart.
Huh.
And because he's always posting pictures on Facebook of new stuff at Walmart and some comical stuff, like you put the word hand, take a selfie, and finish stocking, and he'd post that or something.
So Howie says chicken tractors are the best for clearing land for planting, and also getting all the bugs. Well, they do get all the bugs. I know that.
Not quite all the bugs. We have learned chickens, at least around here, do not like box elder bugs.
Well, that's true. They don't like squash bugs either. Those kind of insects all belong to the same family, and it's like eating a stink bug. It's bad.
The only thing we found that works good on the box elder bugs is a saltwater solution. Or better yet, if you can stomach it, you get a blender, you collect a bunch of them, put them in the blender, and blend them up really fine, and then get a sprayer will spray out all the parts and stuff, and you go around and start spraying everywhere, and they suddenly, that's death. We're staying away from that area.
That's funny. I have never heard that, but that's really unique. I wonder if does it leave a lasting, those things smell. They reek. They smell so bad. Does it leave a lasting stench around your house?
Well, my mom used to do that at her place back in the late 70s, early 80s, with a she had bought a used Cuisinart attachment, so she just used that one bowl, and she'd just go out there and she'd just paint. She paint the poles for the cover over her deck, and she paint the top of the raised planter beds and stuff. We never smelled anything.
Oh, okay.
From the box elder bugs, and then they all just kind of disappeared and went elsewhere.
That's really.
But I discovered that you learn something new every year. For the box elder trees, the box elder bugs only go to the female trees, not the male trees.
Oh,
so if you can determine if you got a male box elder tree, you don't have to worry about the box elder bugs. But if you got a female one, cut it down.
Yeah, there you go. Only plant the males. I wonder if you can tell the difference.
There's a way to tell the difference, but I'm not sure how young, if you get them like in a 5-gallon bucket, whether or not you can tell the difference or not.
Right. You might have to wait until it flowers, and then
Yeah.
Yeah, great. That's investing a lot of time before you get the answer.
Yeah. getting pigs. All right. We were thinking about pigs. The 1 acre parcel I'm on here now, the previous owner, Brandon, had a grain silo out there, probably about 16 feet across, 10-foot sidewalls on it, and then the thing on it. He poured concrete in there. Then he made a little, went from 14 feet down to 12 feet at the other end, about 24 feet long, concreted that in, put solid walls on it, and he was raising pigs there. Being concrete, when the pigs got so big, he would sell them off. He'd go in with his skid steer and scrape it all out, and get rid of the poo out of there. And he had lots of hay in there and stuff. The smell over there wasn't hard bad because he kept it, a lot of hay in there, kept it clean, didn't go overboard on the pigs. However, when he sold the place, he hadn't cleaned out the last batch, and so in the spring when I went in to clean it out with my tractor, oh man! So the only way we could have pigs if I took an acre of the land across the street, put in, buried the cow panel down in, and then my Curtis across the street there has a sawmill, and he has all the scab boards, and I get the scab boards and put them along the bottom and up a little bit to keep the pigs in, and that would give them a big running area, because if a pig has a large enough area, there's no smell, because they will not poop in the exact same spot all the time. They'll go poop here, they'll go poop there, they'll poop there, they'll poop there, and nature works. It's not like a horse, where a horse goes and poops in one spot all the time, or 2 or 3 spots all the time. You get all these piles of horse manure. It's like a cow. It wanders and it poops as it goes.
Huh. That's interesting. I don't think I will get into pigs, though. I think that's too much for me.
Yeah, we figured that we'll probably get a couple of cows, probably get a young female and a young bull, and then the offspring, just give the offspring to be a year and a half old or so, and then send them to the butcher, and just or sell it off if we have plenty of meat frozen and canned.
Yeah.
But chickens, with the number of chickens my daughter has over there, and she's always giving away eggs, and it's going to be the only way we would get chickens. And I've talked to my wife about this a little bit. We'll get the Easter eggers, which sell for quite a bit more, and then take those eggs up to the farmer's market.
Yeah, the Easter egger eggs are so pretty. I mean, there's no difference in nutrition between a white egg and a blue egg, or a white egg and a green egg, or a brown egg. It's just that they look so pretty.
Yeah. The and people, and what's funny is the ones that really go after them, will pay the high dollar, are the ones that are a little snobby about it. They're upper middle class, and they want to show off that they're better, and they'll buy the Easter eggers and stuff. But see, if you can develop a market during the summertime at the farmers market, during the wintertime when the farmers market's not going on, you will have customers to come down and pick up eggs.
Yeah.
Yeah, ducks are messy. Geese are messy. Turkeys, big idiot chickens.
Yeah, turkeys are not too bad.
Yeah,
they're not too bad.
But like my daughter had turkeys over there growing across the street. They were also doing the white Cornish cross, and the white Cornish cross were getting as big as the turkeys.
Oh, wow.
You know, they were getting big, and when they were, butchered out and stuff, it's like, okay, which one's the turkey? This one's a little bit bigger. I think this one's the turkey one, out of the freezer.
Oh, wow.
So,
Huh.
but yeah, the interesting thing is, I finally saw something I didn't think that was around here this morning. I
What's
saw
that?
three raccoons going across the property, and it's like, okay, that's at 6:30, 6 o'clock. I'm going to be out there with my rifle tomorrow.
Yeah, I don't want to see raccoons. I do not want to see raccoons.
Yeah,
they are so
destructive.
they're merciless. Yeah, well, they just yeah.
Yeah, at least possums eat the ticks and the bugs and other things that are bad for you. I guess possums are 90% not immune, but 90% less likely to pick up rabies than raccoons.
Oh.
Good night, Howie.
So I am all out of questions. So I don't know if you, I certainly want to continue to talk to you, Gil, but if you need to go or whatever.
Well, let's switch from farming to prepping, back to prepping.
Okay.
On my other channel, Grayman Prepping, where I'm at, hang on, let me look at it, see where I'm at on my playlist here. I know I got to get back making videos again here. Come on. Find it. It's out of order right now. That one. Hang on. The Your Prep for Today. There it is. 389 videos on the Your Prep for Today playlist. And those are just little short videos of stuff for you to think about. Not necessarily, you may not need that for that item, but think about it like, paper plates, flashlight bulbs. Go to LED flashlight bulbs, stock regular incandescent bulbs, because if there's a EMP, the LEDs aren't going to work. You're going to need to go back to the other ones, the incandescents.
That is something I really like about your channel, where you have the very short little videos just to remind people about things that they might not have thought to make sure they have more of, make sure they have them on hand. I really like that. I think those are such great reminders, Gil.
Okay, the first one I did, Your Prep for Today, #1, was called Brain Aid. And Brain Aid is carry a notebook with you at all times. Oh, yeah. And a pen so you can write in the notebook.
Right.
And as you can see, I make lists and notes all the time. And that's the first one. Then the second one was, I had fun with this one. It's called Your Prep for Day #2 is Gents Take a Walk. Yes, I like Pirates of the Caribbean. And I had the picture of them walking underwater. So it's get off the couch and move your butt, exercise.
Right.
And then you have blankets and coverings, canned meats, backpack, duffel bags, dental care, odds and ends for your skin, first aid, batteries, exercise again, water bottles, hygiene, sanitation for babies. And my wife and I were well stocked up, because even though my daughter is done, we got 2 boys, and one of them is promiscuously active. There may be more grandbabies coming along, so we're ready. Odds and ends for the kitchen, sharpening devices, paper goods for food. So computer supplies, face protection, personal hygiene supplies, budgeting, camping gear, house cleaning supplies. Deal with your vices now. Stockpiling seeds. You want to stockpile seeds? Go to Garden State Gardener. become a member, get on his get the 5 drawings on this list thing, and yeah, you'll get lots of seeds. Easy reads for relaxing, storage containers, shoes, and more. Car and truck kits, games to keep you happy, alcohol supplies, alternative heat sources for winter. And that's just, all these little things. Think about this. Think about it. Do you need to do this? Or do you need to do it later? If you need to do it later, write it down.
Yes. Absolutely.
Hey, Corky. And so, yeah, that's what the Your Prep for Today list is all about. And I got, like I said, I got 389 videos for that, and I got another 60 videos that I need to make. And I got topics for already. And some of the topics have been suggested by viewers. Let's see here. There's the Prepping for Beginners playlist for those that are just starting out. You have a neighbor that's, as Steve, of course, our trainers like to say, is just waking up to the fact that I need to get prepared. Well, that's what the Prepping for Beginners is.
Yes, great.
Yeah, and then there's a playlist just on water stuff, a playlist for sanitation. There's a food playlist. There's a prepper pantry playlist. I try to do stuff so people can go and say, "Oh, I need to learn about this," and I try to put some stuff out there. If I don't have the answer, email me, ask me a question, and I'll do a video on it. Prepping in private is becoming a big topic right now, where it's you don't want your neighbors to know what you're doing.
Right.
So yes, I talk about prepping in private, situational awareness, where to hide foods, how to get food and supplies from your car into your house without being seen.
I really think that the very first time that I found your channel, I was looking for information on oil lamps, and that was how I actually found your channel, and that has been several years ago.
Yeah, that was the video I put out on Camppatton Family Compound. Yeah, and that was the that's my #1 video here. Hang on, let me see if I can do this here for you. Pull this over here to the other side. Content, analytics, and that video is the oil lamps, alternative fuels for emergencies. And let's see if that brings that up here. And it's running an ad. 4, 3, 2, 1. First ad's done. Second ad. Ooh, Kit Kat. Oh, no, I'm on a diet. I don't want to see Kit Kat.
Exactly.
Okay, so present, share, entire screen. And there it is. Yeah. So, yeah, it's number 117, oil lamps, alternative fuels for emergencies. And I've actually put out my video number 1111 on camp. But this was it. And I talk about in here the, there we go. The different, let me turn off the close. There we go. The different types of oil lamps you can buy, filling them up. And then I talk about, where is it? There we go. Using vegetable oil, mixture blends of different vegetables, oils, kerosene, diesel fuel, and where's the green one here? And you notice I'm wearing gloves. Keep my hands clean from the stuff. That's this one in here. He's got the greenish tint to it. Diesel fuel. What is diesel fuel? Diesel fuel is number 2. Diesel fuel is like number 3 kerosene. Number 1 diesel fuel is number 2 kerosene. The only difference is diesel fuel has additives in it, environmental additives for burning in an engine. And so, yeah, that's, like I said, that's my one. That one's got over, where's the views on it? It's got over 5,000 thumbs up on it, 165,000 views.
Yeah.
That's my #1 video.
Yeah, that's
So
amazing.
that's on Camppatton Family Compound. But yeah, there we go. Yeah, there's a I was
So
doing a lot of videos of prepping videos as well on Camppatton until I remembered, idiot, years ago you had the Gray Man Prepping, which you were doing for Homeland Security, so I went and revived that channel, and I started doing all my prepping videos over on Gray Man Prepping.
So Alicia has a question for you, Gil. She wants to know, how do I know the safest kind of oil lamp to buy, and any advice for using one?
Okay, give me about 10 seconds. So this is no smoke, no smell, or no odor. But this is expensive stuff. This is the high grade. This is still kerosene, but they call it paraffin because it's that's the high snooty name they put on it in Britain. But this is the
What is that brand that says on there?
SHABBOS. It's off of Amazon.
Okay.
And I got 2 gallons at one time, just so I have some in the house. Since I made that video on lamp oils and stuff, with the amazing amount of increase in LED lights and lanterns and stuff, and rechargeable batteries and everything else for them, I've basically taken the lamp oils and moved it from my my primary long-term lighting to my backup.
Okay.
And so I got a bunch of LED lanterns. Let me see if I can bring this other one up here real quick here. And I have a bunch. Okay, let me move this over here so I can do it right. I'm doing 2 screens here, folks. For those that don't know, I got 2 screens here. I got my big one here, and I got another big one over here. Okay, so let me put this up over here. All right, so I'm going to share this one again. Share screen entire there, and share. This year is the first year I've seen the lithium rechargeable batteries in the small one for the AA, AAA, C, and D size. So there it is, Steph, if you want to hear that. And so you can see here, they're the USB recharge for these ones. They do make chargers for them as well for them. But I have a bunch of these ones here. I bought this one here for my wife in California. They're all charged up. These are the lithium D-cell batteries. It takes a Type C USB charger to charge it off of any USB port. I got a couple of the AA's for her as well. And yeah, there's all sorts of different ones out there, and some of them work differently. This one is a built-in one. You just pull the cap off, and it plugs into the a USB port on your computer, wherever you can charge it. But these are lithium.
I didn't realize they were making those.
I just saw them this year. It's the first year I've seen them.
Wow.
And so, yeah. So there are a bunch, and of course, then there are the other ones and stuff that are the Not
CR.
not the other ones. No, the built-in USP, they do not have. If you get the right ones, they actually, especially with the double A's, these are actually double A ones with the lithium ones are actually all, at least all the ones I've found, are 1.5 volts, and they have milliwatt hours on it. Where these other ones here that are not USB ones, the ones that are the metal hydroxide, are what most of those are 1.2 volt. So they actually, if you're using something that needs 1.5, it'll draw the 1.2 volts down quicker.
Oh.
And actually, the lithium ones have a longer shelf life, longer number of recharges you can put to them. And if you get the good high number ones there, they will last longer. So like right now, this this one here is 3,400. This one over here is 1,100. This one's 1,200. These are the amp hours on them. 1,200. 1,200 is pretty much standard. So this 3,400 is the go-to, is probably your best long-lasting AA battery.
I'm taking notes.
Yeah.
Right here.
Yeah. And so they do have, like I said, they got the little plug-in port where you put 4 of them in and you plug it in. You cannot use a regular NiCad / metal hydroxide charger for the lithiums.
Right, family farm has to go.
All right. Bye, Courtney. And so, yeah, I mean, it's amazing because last fall I didn't see the lithium in AA's and AAA's, or even D's. I did see them in 6 volt, but I didn't see them in these. And so they're just making a big splash on it here. Let me do this here. Lithium batteries, and I'm going to change that from AA to 6 volt. They got these weird ones. Where is the? Yeah, it was hard to find it. So there we go. This one here. This is the one I bought a set of these for my wife in California for the big yellow handheld batteries with the push button on them with the big thing on it. And so these have 1,000 recharge. Well, 1,500 recharge plus more than that. The Everreadys cost $5 at the cheapest I've been able to find them. $4.99. So 1,000 recharges means I got 1,000 of the $5 ones for $39. That would have been $5,000 for the regular old-fashioned spring top batteries, and each of these will last longer than that. So
CR says work with solar lights.
Yes, they will. Well, I'm not sure. I haven't checked that out. I know that solar lights will use the NiCads, or I bet they prefer the metal hydroxide ones for the little lights like I did the videos on for the walkway lights. I don't think they'll work for the lithium ones. However, I have to go find it again. There was a couple of the, let me go back here on this one here. And let me go back to the run page and show you here. All right, so let me represent this. All right, there it is. If you want to click on it. All right. Now you see these run off these want to run off a USB. So you plug the USB in, and then you plug it into the battery. They have little solar packs that are USB outlet. So basically, you plug the USB into the solar one, and you put it out there, and you charge up your lithium batteries during the day.
Huh.
And some people, well, it takes a while. You may run out of batteries. How often are you going to be burning out the batteries that you need to recharge on for your flashlights? You know, for the flashlights in the house here and stuff. How often are you going to drive instead? Are you going to kill a flashlight every single day? Probably. And so if you're not killing one every day, you can have several of these and charge them up. Some of those solar chargers, you can plug 2 or 3 of the USB things into it and charge them up during the day. And then you have, 4, 8, whatever batteries charged per day. And if you're not using the flashlight that day, boom, you just use the others. You just keep on recharging them, and then you have all your are charged. Hang on, let me grab something over here. Let me grab something.
Bye, Alicia.
So I got a bunch of rechargeable batteries here. These are all AAA rechargeable. These are some of my AA, and then I got another box over there that's 48 rechargeable AA batteries. They're fully charged, and every now and then I check them to make sure they're still holding a charge and everything's good on them. And they charge up really quick, and I'm good. And I got those. I got a bunch of the LED lanterns around. So I could probably go with the number of batteries I have here a couple of weeks before I need to start charging batteries. But as soon as I change the battery, if I charge it up, I always have a good supply of batteries.
Yeah, that's great. And so these are lithium batteries, the ones right there that you're talking about?
No, the ones I have here are the nickel metal hydroxide batteries. Let's see, but it's not going to show. Because it's got a green bottom, it's invisible on the green screen. And doesn't show the other part. No, it doesn't show any of the wording at all, but it's the nickel metal hydroxide ones. Harbor Freight ones. The Harbor Freight ones are short-term ones. But, these are all
which brand lasts the longest?
The brand that I have that lasts the longest, believe it or not, is Amazon Basics.
Oh, wow.
For the metal hydroxide ones. And right there with it, tied almost immediately, is the, I'll pronounce it right here. It's made by Panasonic. The Evolution Loop. Hang on a second. I got one here. In fact, I just put 2 batteries in an hour ago to charge, and they're now fully charged. It's a Panasonic, and it comes in a kit, and you get the charger, and you get a bunch of batteries, and you got some adapters for it all. But it's the any loop, ENE loop, and Costco has it. Sam's Club has it sometimes. They have the kits. No, the kit's a green one. It'll just disappear if I bring it out here. The kit's about that big. It has 6 AAA and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 12 AA batteries in it. Then it has adapters for the AA's, so you can use them as in C's or D.
Very interesting.
Size. Basically, the little battery goes inside of a sleeve. To make it a C size or a D size.
Oh, wow. Very interesting.
Yeah.
That's great. That's really, really great.
But yeah. And yeah. So if you have one of the biggest, all right. I may get a few people mad. If I get you mad, I apologize. But truth is truth. All right. The number one failure of preppers and homesteaders is water. Putting
Right.
away enough water. And some preppers, like Kaylin Strain talks about it in her apartment, her being an apartment prepper, her restrictions there is water weighs 8.8 pounds per gallon. And where is she going to store it in her apartment?
Right.
I would say probably the second mistake that preppers make. Oh, I'm going to buy all dehydrated. I'm going to buy all dehydrated or MRE food. The cost of some of the dehydrated food you can buy for 6 meals of dehydrated, you can buy a 50-pound bag of rice.
Right.
And the rice is going to last decades.
Right.
So it's picking the right food to store. And like Dave at Southern Ohio Prepping loved to say, hey, unless you're eating the MREs weekly or the dehydrated food weekly, when you change from your normal diet to an all dehydrated or all MRE diet, you can have one of two responses. One, you're going to be needing to take a lot of X-Lax, or number two, you're going to be needing to take a lot of ammonium AD.
Right. Right.
And yeah, it's like dehydrated, the freeze dried food and stuff. Oh, we have probably 3 months worth. But for us, that the dehydrated food is, quote, bug out food. If we need to carry a bunch of food with us, we're carrying that real lightweight freeze dried food. Okay, let me see. Food that, and you know, one of the other big mistakes that a lot of preppers make, they don't think when it comes to their foods. They have their normal food they're eating. Oh, I need to store stuff. Oh, this is on sale. I'm going to buy, a 20-pound bag of this weird rice stuff that I've never eaten, never tried, don't know what it tastes like. Or I'm going to buy all this guacamole sauce that's on super sale, or all the stuff that they don't eat.
Right. Right.
And it's like they forget the axiom: eat what you store what you eat. If you're not eating it, don't store it.
That's exactly right.
And so so a lot of people that are new to prepping, they listen to some of these bait and switch false information prepping channels. They're just out there to try to get as many likes and stuff that they can, so they can make more money. And become, oh, I got 10,000 subscribers, so I got 150,000 subscribers. Yet they're putting out BS. And some of these channels are saying, oh, you got to buy all this, or you got to buy all that. You buy what you eat, and you store what you eat. The next failure point of preppers, they don't plant a garden. Yeah, they don't plant a garden, And a lot of these phony baloney prepping channels says, you don't need to worry about planting a garden. Just store all the seeds. And when the time comes, you plant the seeds and boom, you got all the food you need. Bull pucky. Ain't that right, Stephanie? Your garden just doesn't go.
Exactly. Exactly.
Gardens are a work. Gardening is a skill. You know, like I said earlier, I am learning what does grow, what doesn't grow. You know, what grows poorly in this area of the yard, what grows good in this area of the yard.
Yeah, I'm still learning. Yeah. I mean, I've been gardening for decades, and every year is different. Every year is different. You know, there's basic stuff. There's basic stuff that happens every year, but you can't ever predict exactly what's going to happen.
Yeah. And Al's touching on the next point here. Once if a prepper learns to plant a garden and grow his food, the next thing he needs to do, if you could click on Uncle Al's 2 down from David's, highlight it, is, you know, it's learn to cook and process them. Yeah, canning. I mean, you talk about canning, and most preppers go, they don't want to hear it. No, you need to learn how to can. You're not going to be able to hunt all the food you need.
Right. Well, I mean, simple math tells you that if something bad happens, like S to HTF, if there's no food for you at the grocery store, there's no food for everybody else either. So that means everybody else is going to be looking for something to eat as well. So you've got to figure out what you're going to be doing without having to depend on what anybody else is doing out there, including the store, you know, or your neighbors.
We got another Idahoan here, Tim Fergal. Hey, Tim.
I didn't know he was from Idaho.
Yes, he's north of you.
Okay.
And like CR says there, 100 days, lots of stuff can happen in the garden.
Oh, absolutely.
You could get a drought, and most of the garden dies if you don't have water, a non-powered water source, or it could get deluged and everything drowned in the garden.
Right.
Yeah, there. He's in Sagal. Sagal. Yeah, Sagal, Idaho. So, hey guys, another channel to check out. There's Tim's.
Okay, awesome.
Yeah.
So you're right, CR. SHTF could happen in the winter. You know.
Oh yeah, the worst time. All right, understand. All right, go back to definitions. Basically, back in the late 60s and early 70s, a bunch of the experts were getting together, and back then it was snail mail and phone calls, and we came up, and I got into that group luckily, and we came up with 4 types of events. There's your emergencies, you know, general emergencies, and they can go anything from a flat tire to, you know, different things. And then they go up. The next step up is life-altering events. Ooh, there's an earthquake. You know, it's, you know, my house fell down, a tornado, a hurricane, life-altering events. And so life-altering events is the majority of I would say 99.9% of all events. Now, to get into SHTF, we have not had SHTF ever in the United States.
Right.
SHTF, for it to be SHTF, government must fail. Recovery time is 1 to 5 years for government. Milwaukee, the end of the world as we know it, same thing. Government must fail, but you're looking at 10 or more years for government to restore and things to start returning to, quote, normal.
And we hope that the government restores in a way we like.
Yeah. So basically, so you're looking for if something's going to hit SHTF, it is bad. There's going to be no power grid, no government. The first government that's going to come back is going to be local government, and the first thing they're going to set up, the police department, get it up again to protect the people. And they're not going to be putting up water treatment plants first. They're not going to be taking care of sanitation. They're going to be taking care of lawlessness first.
Right.
Old West. It's going to be back to the Old West.
Yeah, that's going to be the most pressing need.
Yeah. And those that have alternate sources of power, whether it's solar, which has a limited lifetime on it, wind, which is not that efficient and has a longer but still limited lifetime on it, hydroelectric, which is a lot better and has a lot longer lifetime on it for having to replace stuff, and it's easier to replace. Yeah, but how many people have a stream flowing through their property that they can generate power from? Not too many. Right. And if you're in the city, I'm sorry, this is going to be depressing. If there is a total grid failure that lasts more than 30 days, the position of the United States has hit that downward slope and going down. And if it happens, say it happens in November,
yeah,
by December 31st, you're going to have a 25% die-off of the population. 25% die-off of the population of the United States. By January 31st, it's going to be up to 65%. By spring, it'll be up to upwards of 90 to 95% die-off. Most of that is going to be your cities. That's a solemn thought, but that's one of the secret informations that we have from Homeland Security is that, okay, this is what we're looking at, folks. This is the worst case scenario.
Right. People need to, and I'm pointing a finger at myself because I'm a person, but we all need to get ourselves in the best health possible. And think about, if something were to happen, something bad were to happen, if you are taking some sort of daily medication, how are you going to manage without that daily medication? Yeah. The time to figure those things out is now, because you don't want to be caught unawares and have no idea what to do.
Yeah, along the same line is diet. Now, I'm not talking about losing weight diet. I'm talking about your everyday, your food intake diet. Right. My great-grandmother lived to be 98. Okay? She spent most of her life on the farm. She never had, I don't think she ever had a fast food meal ever in her life. My grandmother, I don't think she had fast foods until she was in her late 70s, early 80s. Yeah, but when I say fast food, I'm talking McDonald's, Kentucky Fried Chicken, stuff like that. My mom started having fast foods in the 70s. He was trying to be, because both my dad worked and my mom worked, and my mom worked part-time, and so was taking care of us, teenagers. And it was, sometimes it was, Kentucky Fried Chicken. Hey, Big Valley Living, how's it going? And so, and then of course Me, as a teenager, started eating fast foods. I wish I'd never got involved in fast foods. Oh, man. Along the same line, back in the but back when I was a little kid, in the 50s, corn syrup, not high fructose corn syrup, just regular corn syrup, came out. Crisco came out. You know, Crisco is not good. Crisco is not good for you. What's that? I can't remember the name of all the the technical term for Crisco. Yeah, some of the hydrogenated, blah 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 blah. You know, vegetable oil stuff. You know, it's basically, you know, give it a longer shelf life, but the stuff they do to it, not good. And so our diets has, after the Korean War has changed, and it's been changing exponentially. Now you want to find, you know, something without high fructose corn syrup in it, you got to look and hunt for it.
That's true. Or MSG, monosodium glutamate. That's another additive that they say it's a flavor enhancer, but it causes, well, it's
modified salt.
But it's not. They say it's an excitotoxin, is what I have read.
Yeah.
Well, that's not. You don't want that, but it's in so much.
Yeah.
Like so, even chicken bouillon cubes have it.
Yeah. Now, some chicken bouillon cubes don't, but they are loaded with regular sodium salt. Better Than Bouillon doesn't have it. And that's why my wife is Better Than Bouillon is something my wife has switched to. So it's because it doesn't have it. I did an accident this week. My wife was getting some, back when I was in California 2 weeks ago, for the last couple of weeks, she was getting the drumsticks without the nuts on them because she decided she really doesn't like the nuts anymore. And she was getting some that was non-high fructose corn syrup in it, you know, and the ice cream and stuff, but it had the sugar and everything else. And she was getting, I went and had one. She goes, "That's 285 calories." And I go, "I just had one for the day." And she goes, "It's much better if you get those dream bars and stuff. They're only like 100 calories. So I went up and I looked at when I got back here, I went to Walmart. Oh, the dream bars, okay, all right. They're 130 calories. I forgot to look at the ingredients.
Oh, my goodness.
High fructose corn syrup.
Yeah.
I had one day, had another the second day, the third day when I was eating one, it hit me. I had a reaction to the high fructose corn syrup. It was like, get it away do not stand between me and the toilet.
Oh,
yeah.
My goodness. Wow.
Yeah. So, if I used to be able to eat anything with high fructose corn syrup, and it didn't bother me. But when I stopped eating, because basically as I grew up, it was slowly introduced a little bit more into all the stuff we ate, a little bit more. When I started cutting it out of my diet, and I've gone months without anything high fructose corn syrup, and I ate some high fructose corn syrup. Oh yeah, I can feel the results.
Wow.
And so if it's that quick and okay, no. Yeah, and those dream bars have shrunk down in size. You know, the orange on the outside, vanilla on the inside.
Yes,
they've shrunk down in size.
Right. Just like the fudgesicle, right?
Yeah. And so there's, you got to watch out what you're eating. Your diet of what you're putting in your body is killing us.
Yeah.
I have to look it back up again, but they track the average age of men and women and stuff, and the ages have been getting longer and longer and longer. Oh yeah, we got modern medicine, and they've been all of a sudden now coming back down again because all the crap they're pumping into us in the fast foods and stuff. Exactly, Big Valley Living.
Well, and it's not just it's not just the farmers. The farmers are the ones that are growing the ingredients, but it's
Yeah,
the processors who are dreaming up all of these new food items. You know, they're not really food, they're food items.
yeah,
They're dreaming up all of these new ways to use these different ingredients and make the cheapest product possible to sell at the highest price.
yeah. It's
So,
like
you know,
one of the
sugar,
things.
salt, and fake ingredients are tasty.
One of the things that I've months ago I was talking about near the beginning of the year was one of the ingredients I learned about, and it's actually even on WebMD and some of the others not to eat this stuff, but it's a filler made from either rice, corn, or wheat. And it doesn't matter which plant it comes from, it has the same name, maltodextrin. Basically, it is so super refined that when it gets into your body and it starts to get assimilated, it's like a high spike to the glucose. And also those with celiac disease. And so it's one of those things, if you check on your vitamins and stuff, I've been throwing out a lot of vitamins as I hunt and find the ones that do not have the maltodextrin in it. For people like me, I take I was taking the Members Mark Sam's Club brand equivalent of Osteobioflex.
Oh,
Osteobioflex has has less ingredients than the Members Mark brand does, but it's they both have maltodextrin and they're both pretty far up there. There is a different mark, and the Members Mark brand was in a blue jar. However, Members Mark has now come out with a different one that does not have the maltodextrin in it at all, and it eliminated some of the other chemicals. And the pills are a little bit smaller. It doesn't have filler in it. And so, you got to hunt around and look at it. The Costco multivitamins don't have it. There was something, but basically, you shop, take your glasses. If you don't need glasses, still take some cheaters, because the fine print on some of those ingredients you can't see. Even if you have 20/20 vision, it's like sometimes I have two pair of glasses, and to get magnification, I put them on a little bit apart, and it's like, now I can read that ultra fine print. But and that's why one of the things you're talking about. We need our diet. We need for our life, living long and stuff. If our diet is good, our immune system is better. We don't have quite as the medical problems. Now, there are several doctors out there, both medical doctors, doctors of chiropractics, doctor of orthopedics and stuff, that are all coming on board, and they're being shunned by the rest of their community, but they're becoming on board with information about brain work. Come on, brain work. Insulin resistance caused by diet, which is causing multiple problems, not just pre-diabetes and diabetes B and diabetes A, but they're causing other problems as well, other things because that are offshoots of insulin resistance because of the stuff in our diets that's causing it. And maltodextrin is listed as one of those things by WebMD or one of the other medical ones. And these doctors are saying that's one of the things to stay away from. Go back to, if you're raising your own food, your hands and fists above everybody else as far as getting good nutritional food. Now, David, problem with oatmeal. Found this out. This is interesting. Oatmeal that is being brought into the United States, a lot of the oatmeal being used in the United States is being brought in, imported, because it's cheaper. However, there is a chemical used on it overseas that is, quote, non-detectable or within safe limits that the oatmeal in the United States doesn't have at all. And they're allowing it in, and so you got to be careful. And I know that Quaker Oat, regular Quaker Oat oatmeal has a higher percentage of it than the Quaker Oat Instant does per serving.
Wow.
So something in making it, in processing it to make it instant oatmeal, draws out some of that chemical.
Huh.
That's
interesting because so many countries in Europe won't allow certain
chemicals, but the U.S. does.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. But it's interesting that they allow that one. Or maybe these oats are not coming from Europe.
They're not coming from Europe.
Okay.
They're coming from other countries. And the other countries are using it, and they spray it onto whatever insecticide or whatever it is, and it, quote, evaporates and disappears and stuff out of it. But there's still a residue there that's coming in, but it's below what the FDA or the whichever agency is in charge of it saying, oh, this is the level, okay, and it's like, wait a minute, that wasn't that level 5 years ago, it was lower. Why are you raising it?
Right. They do that all the time.
But yeah,
they used to have certain parameters. Yeah, they used to have certain parameters for organic grown vegetables, and they have changed those because nobody can meet them. Basically, I shouldn't say nobody. But you know what I'm saying.
Yeah, and so there's you got to look at your food, and if you can grow your own, great. And there's, that's one thing. One of the things I really hate about the housing industry. Lots of lots of getting smaller and smaller and smaller. Yes. For decades, quarter-acre lot was the smallest you normally would get in a housing tract. Now they're down to a 1/5 acre or a 1/6 acre lot for a housing tract, and you can't grow anything on a property that size. Right.
They don't. There's housing developments here in the Boise area that have no lawn. They have no way to water a lawn. There's no outdoor faucets or anything on the outside. It's all rock. And the way they sell those is they say it's a dwelling that has low maintenance. Imagine you never have to mow a lawn. Imagine you don't have to, XYZ. It's so freeing, I'm like, I would never buy a house where I couldn't grow something.
The California house has no lawn. It hasn't had a lawn for 20 years. It has a garden in the front and a garden in the back. It has like 20, fruit trees. We don't have to worry about not growing a lawn. We're growing food there. And my wife gives away, the one lemon tree we have 1, 2, 4 lemon trees. The lemon tree that was there originally that froze back before we bought the place and was coming back from rootstock. It has thorns on it as long as my fingers, but it has grapefruit-sized lemons on it. And the thing is absolutely covered with lemons. And she gets cardboard boxes, fills them up with lemons, and puts them down on the neighbor to our right. There has a brick retaining wall in the front of his yard, and she puts them there. He comes out, grabs a couple of lemons, and leaves them there. And everybody who walks by picks up a lemon or two. And when it gets down to like 5 or 6 lemons in it, someone takes the whole box. But, with the way my boys are ordering stuff from Amazon, she always has boxes, and she just fills the Amazon box up of lemons, takes it down and gives it away. When the oranges when she has too many oranges, she fills boxes of oranges, takes it down there, puts it down there. And so the neighbors have a respect for our property there. They know food, they give us stuff. So, and people come by and ask, hey, do you need this? Do you need that? They offer stuff back. So, and then there's some houses up the street that are also no lawns, gardens front and back, and they're doing the same thing. So it's one of those things that, and the apples. Oh, the apples off the Granny Smith and Fuji. She throws away so many apples because the squirrels get up there and start eating on them, and they drop them and stuff, and she just throws those away. And then she goes and picks up a bunch of the apples, takes them across, feeds them to the horses across the street, and she'll put she used to put boxes of apples over there. They were good apples, but kids would come up and so the kids could feed the horses healthy stuff. And then some people started taking the boxes of apples home, and she stopped that. But she still feeds the horses. She gives neighbors and stuff, gives them apples and stuff. People come up, oh, I'm having a party. Can I pick lemons? And she goes out there with them, just loads them up with more lemons than they wanted, or stuff like that. The only food she does not give away is the cherries, the apricots, the peaches, and the tangerines. Those are the foods because we got ultra dwarf trees on those, so they don't produce more than what we can use. And that's the thing that people need to think about. All right, if you have a small lot, but you have an area where you can plant something, plant a fruit tree, whether it's, depending on your location, whether it's going to be a stone or a citrus fruit. Is it going to be what type of fruit that you like and can eat a lot? Is it you really like peaches, apricots, cherries, nectarines, whatever it is, plant it. And if it's something like apricots and peaches and nectarines, if you get too many, A, you can make jams. B, you can dehydrate it. And if you have a freeze dryer, you can freeze dry it. So there's ways to do it. Yeah, way to go, Big Valley Living. Yeah, it's like there's one tree on the property in California where my wife is still at that does not produce food, and that's the catalpa tree in the front yard, but it has leaves on it 10 months out of the year. And she has the sun sensitive plants under it. And some of the, I forget the name she calls them, like the little cactuses and stuff like that, and then other plants that can't take the direct summer heat in California. Well, she has those under the catalpa tree. And in the, I would say, middle of January, it starts blossoming out. It's covered with pink flowers, this tree. And then the green leaves come out, and it's beautiful. And it's and she has all these different plants growing under it. In fact, she has a passion fruit growing on it. It's grown up into the catalpa tree all over it. And then she put a 1 gallon pot, and she forgot to put a saucer under it of a geranium next to it. Well, it rooted through, and now the geranium is up into the catalpa tree. But yeah, we have, like I said, we got a whole bunch of, so we got 2 apricots, 2 cherries, 4 lemons, 5 oranges. Am I missing one? Oh, 1 peach tree there in 2 apple trees there at the house in California. And as soon as I finish getting the yard ready, hopefully I can get everything ready this year and get it set up so that in the spring I'll be planting the apple trees here, the apricots, and the pear trees. We don't have a pear tree in California. My wife wished she'd planted a pear tree instead of one of the lemon trees, but. And
So
most preppers don't think about that. That's a food source. That'll keep us alive.
Right. Right. So Star Homestead India has just said that he grows food for his rabbits. He has trees for shade and feed for his rabbits. So if anybody here has not gone over to check out Star Homestead India, his channel, he has a great channel where he is growing food organically, and he has rabbits and chickens, and he has a garden. Lots of information from his channel. It's a great,
he has chickens everywhere. And he has a lot of eggs. Hey, Shawnee, how's it going? And there's Star has a lot of good stuff over there. And of course, he's in India, so it's hot over there. And
Southern India.
Southern India.
South India.
Yeah. Okay, Big Valley. Who's Big Valley? Who are you asking about? You're asking me about the California house? It's in the San Francisco Bay Area. It's in the town of Martinez, home of the Martini and the Lowrider car. Yeah.
Awesome.
And if somebody, okay, Star Homestead India put his link out there. Good. Yeah. So there is a lot of stuff there. And if anybody's wondering, this came in since right. This was my mom's roll top oak desk she got in 1990, and a oak file cabinet my brother gave her shortly thereafter. This thing breaks down into 10 components that have to come apart, not counting all these drawers and stuff here in the top. The bottom drawers lock into it when you take it apart. It has a lock on it, so like when you roll down the roll top, it automatically locks the drawers so you can't open them. So, but I had to take that apart into 10 parts, and I moved it up here this last trip, and it took me a day and a half to put it back together. Yeah, where we are in Martinez, we're over by Viano's Vineyards there, and we can see. We used to be able to see out the kitchen window of my parents' place, which was a couple blocks away, and look at the old mothball fleet there in the Carquinez Strait. But yeah, we do get a breeze up through there. But if you go over the other side of the hill behind us into Pacheco and Concord, oh yeah, temperature goes quite a bit higher instantly there.
Yeah, that's a nice looking desk.
Yeah.
And you brought it, you took it apart and it was in 10 pieces. You brought it up to Idaho, and now you had to put it back
together again. So basically, from the flat part of the desk here up is one piece. But I pulled all the drawers out of it. I didn't count that. Then this drawer in the middle between the two file cabinet things, that comes apart. And there are several pieces that come off for that. In the back there, that little cubby hole in the back underneath where the feet are, that's a 3-part compartment that comes apart in 3 pieces to get it apart. And it holds the pieces together. So you take 3 parts apart and then they can be separated. There's the pull-out writing things on each side on the top of the drawers there, the file cabinet drawers. that big old oak thing that slides out, those have to come off. They can't be, they're once you take the top off, they're loose. And so it comes apart in all the pieces. And once you take the top off, the drawers lock, so you can't open them up. And so it comes all apart. And then it's got electrical wiring in it too, because in the top here, this drawer right here in the top in the center of those three drawers is you pull it out and it's a light. It's a desk light. So it's got electrical in it. I got to wire the electrical in too when I put it back together. My mom had all of these. In fact, I got a couple boxes for all the stuff my mom had in all of these little drawers. One of them up there is labeled staples. One is staplers. One is paper clips. One is Post-its. One is ring binder reinforcements. Those little things they used to use on hole punch paper to make sure it didn't pull out of your at school and stuff. She has a bunch of those up there. I mean, every one of those things is labeled up there. And then she had other stuff in all these little compartments and stuff I hear on it. And so, yeah, the only thing I don't like about it, it's 33 inches from the front edge to the back edge. It probably, if it were 6 inches deeper, then it could be used. She wanted something she used as a desk and a computer. Well, as a computer desk too. So she had her little Macintosh on there for a while, and then she says it's too narrow. Needed to have about 6 more inches to be able to put a computer on it. So, and I had the same problem with it. When I did any lives from California, I was sitting at that desk. I had a monitor a flat screen pushed right up against those drawers, and another one on top. So, but yeah, it was. But it is such a it's a neat desk. I just love it.
Well, you're really fortunate to have it.
Yeah, I was fortunate to get it up here, and now I just got to convince my wife to let it stay where it's at. She goes, I'm not sure I want it there. It's like, okay, we can't put. You want me to put it in the master bedroom? She goes, no. And it's like the other bedrooms are going to be occupied here probably, especially if Matthew comes up here. Because if Matthew comes up, Alex isn't with you. Alex doesn't want to stay there in California by himself. He'll come up too. And I'll take care of the other bedrooms, because the one bedroom is her sewing room. That's been laid down in stone.
Okay, yeah. Big Valley has to go.
Yeah,
bye, Big Valley.
Big Valley. Yeah, there's it's like all the things that I've learned. Putting furniture apart, taking it together, has come in handy. With other stuff, putting other stuff together, and people donate. Oh, we got this. We don't know how to do it. Do it. Can you come take it apart and it's yours? Ooh, that's to buy that news. $350. I'll be right over.
Right.
Yeah, set in stone, carved by the finger of God, like the 10 Commandments. Thou shalt not put anything in here but Chris's sewing stuff. Yeah. But, and that's the thing, a lot of people, and that's another skill most preppers don't get. Back when I was a little boy, they used to have the tailoring merit badge, learning how to sew. They didn't call it the sewing merit badge. Right. They called it the tailoring merit badge, because tailors at the time were still all men. So they had to,
right.
They wanted to get the boys to learn how to sew stuff. And you had to sew to get it, you had to sew all the patches on your uniform yourself to get that one.
Right.
And my mom taught my sister, my oldest sister, and an older brother. They were half brother and sister. Myself and my younger brother, how to sew. She had a Neche sewing machine that she went on Queen for a Day. Tells you when she got that. And it still works. And I have it. And my wife once we get up here, wants me to set it up in her sewing room so she can use it too, because it can sew Levi's back together. It's that tough of a machine.
Huh.
And most preppers don't think about, oh, my pants are all wore out. There's no more stores. Where am I going to get clothes?
Exactly.
Which brings up one of the last Your Prep for Day videos I did was sewing material. So, all right, David, I haven't heard that in a long time. Folgers, handpicked by Juan Valdez.
Yep.
But yeah, there's just so much stuff. I've put out. Well, all right. So like I said, for the first 2 years or so, Camppatton Family Compound had both family, gardening, homesteading, and prepping videos on it. And if I were to count all those prepping videos and the how-to videos and everything over on Grayman Prepping, there's a lot of information there. And I got a spreadsheet of topics. And then under those topics, other videos that address those topics of videos I want to do. There's just not enough time in the day to do them all for everybody.
Well, you'll never run out of subject matter. You'll never run out of subject matter, Gil.
Oh, never. And then once my wife is up here, I will have a whole bunch more videos. I will make her start doing some of the videos for Camppatton Family Compound.
There you go.
Yeah, like I did some videos on my phone to her. Yesterday, I had the grandkids came over, and I had them. And I have the gazelle. You've been seeing my weight loss videos, doing the exercise on the gazelle. And I brought my mom's the previous trip this last month I made to California. I brought my mom's treadmill out of my wife's sewing room up here. And so I got this the treadmill, and I got the gazelle, and there I had grandkids on both of them going away, so I had to take videos and send it to my wife. So at least they're learning to stay active. And so this winter, they'll be probably spending a lot since they can't play outside in the wintertime much here, because their parents don't want to go outside in the wintertime. They'll be coming over here and spending time on the treadmill, the gazelle, and I got a bunch of the little, the little weights for the wrists and stuff. They'll be putting those on and trying to walk around with those on. I got the little small 2-pound weights. They'll be doing those. Oh, that's good one. Well, we get the house currently has 4 bedrooms, but right now both my sons are in California. The youngest son wants to build on the property across the street. He's saving up money. And unfortunately, this is not a stick-built house. This is a manufactured, aka mobile home. If it was a stick-built or a modular, yeah, I could easily extend onto it, no problem. But my wife is also looking at for if the boys want to move up here, and so we don't lose both the other 2 bedrooms, because right now the one bedroom is the grandkids' playroom, the other one is their sewing room, and the other one is the office I'm in. and she's looking at getting a travel trailer. It's called a park edition. There's different types. Basically, they go in a mobile home park, so they can take the cold winters and stuff. They're built for, they're movable, but they go in a travel park. And like the oil fields in Montana and North Dakota, South Dakota use those a lot. Well, she's thinking about getting one of those, a 2-bedroom one, to put out here on the cement pad driveway here for the boys, to encourage them to save their money more, but especially the youngest one, to build his house. But and if I can get the shop fully insulated, sometime in July, I should be getting natural gas run into this house. This is an all electric house. When I get natural gas run into it, I'm gonna have the contractor stub out the back fitting so I can set up a natural gas barbecue grill out there, and then I can tie off of that and I can run a line over into the shop and put gas heaters in the shop. And okay, Kaylin, hey. So I didn't realize that was you saying about the extension. Do put some gas heaters out there, get it insulated, and so we'll move a lot of our food storage that's in here out into the one section of the shop.
Oh, that would be great.
And then I'll be able to fill up all those IBC totes I have out there with water, so I'll have a year's worth of water stored in the shop as well. Then I don't have to worry about it freezing. And yeah, and so and if I get things set up out there, I'll run internet out there, and I actually set an office up out there as well.
Right. So what will happen if the grid goes down? What will happen to natural gas?
It'll die off because it's got pumps to pump it. This house does have a wood burning stove. I have another wood burning stove sitting in the shop that I have not installed out there. One of the things that has me nervous about the grid and stuff is I don't have the electrical setup I want to have. And if people want to know what I'm talking about, there's a friend of mine who lives a mile and a half away here, Ben Gilmore. His channel is Minute Man Prep, and he reviews, besides does some guns and other stuff and travel trailers. He reviews all the solar generators / power stations, and they're coming out with some big ones now. There are several now that'll do 220 or 240.
Oh wow! So do you have some certain kind in mind?
Oh, right now I have of the Reno-G 100-watt solar panels. I got 20 of them. No, 21 of them. I have a bunch of the old Harbor Freight Anthony Morris solar panels that are 15 watt each, and I've got 5 times 3. Five. So I got 15 of those. Those are only 15 watts. But I want to get some more solar panels, and then get a bunch of the lithium iron phosphate batteries, so that I can power the house for 3 days without sun. But the solar panels should be able to keep it charged up enough so I will have lights, and I can still run some of the stuff. It will mean that we have, in the wintertime for doing laundry, we'll be hanging laundry up in the house, like my grandmother used to do, or great grandmother used to do.
Yeah, that's no big deal, right?
Yeah, but the washing machine will be electric, and I'll be able to run the washing machine so we don't have to wash by hand. We'll still have the refrigerators and freezers that can be powered off of the solar panel system. Computers, but it's computers and stuff are going to be mainly now for once the grid goes down permanently, will be for watching videos and stuff for not going stir crazy in the wintertime. Pop a DVD in and play it. The sewing machines to maintain stuff, and in the meantime, froze as I froze. One of the things we are looking at possibly doing is getting some of the, if I could say it's the helix type, but it's got a word, helixal wind turbines that are totally recyclable, can be set up to power several of them together and run a shaft between them to run a generator, so you can or an alternator or whatever, so you can get power that way. Then of course there's always the bicycle generators I've been trying to get to work, so I can put grandkids say, all right, guys, you guys want to watch a movie? Get on there and pedal and charge up the battery to watch your movie.
Sounds like a plan.
Yeah, one of the things I would also like to do is central boiler, and there's a couple other ones that have the big outdoor wood burning boilers to heat water and stuff. Is to get one of those installed here, run the water lines in, and get everything run in, and so that we wouldn't use it unless it'd be emergency. Like the natural gas was out, everything went down, and then we just do the changeover. It'd already be installed, ready to go, change over, and we would then have hot water, and we could then tie in off in some of the extra bathrooms with some of the, I have a couple of the shop water radiant heaters that I just pump hot water into, and 12-volt fan on it, and it blows air, and it through it, so it moves water, it moves hot air around off of that in different parts of the house. Propane is good to have now, but if the grid goes down, propane will disappear. Now, if I had the money? Oh, if I had the money, I'd be putting in two 2,000-gallon propane tanks. I'd be putting in enough solar panels and wind generators to power a hydrogen producing generator. So it generates hydrogen. I didn't putting the hydrogen into the tanks, odorizing it, and using it instead of natural gas or propane in the house. There's a guy in Washington that has his house, his guest house, his 6-car garage, all covered with solar panels, and he produces more hydrogen than he can use, and his cars are hydrogen powered. They have hydrogen fuel cells.
Oh my goodness.
So they're electric that run on hydrogen. And this he's had this set up for about 20 years now.
Oh my goodness. Who is this guy?
I had some videos saved when I was at work at DHS on him, and I forgot to save that my favorites list that those were in when we got new computers. I saved all my other files onto DVDs. I forgot to save my favorites list, and I lost his link. But his whole house and stuff is set up in. He has 3 or 4. I think he has 4 now of the 2,000-gallon tanks that are normally for propane, but he stores hydrogen in them. Of course, now that Toyota, Caterpillar, and a couple other companies are making internal combustion engines that run on hydrogen, he's probably going to has enough money where he's going to be getting one of those where it just runs internal combustion on hydrogen. So
Wow, that's really interesting.
yeah, so it's using wind, hydroelectric, and solar to produce hydrogen is actually a very good way to store the power, because if you have the tanks to store the hydrogen gas in, it's like a super battery. The battery never goes dead. You just keep storing more as you produce it, and when it's full and you can't put any more into it, you turn off the producer.
Oh, okay. Huh. So I wonder if you could just search a Google search about hydrogen powered house or something like that.
Yeah, you could do hydrogen search, solar powered hydrogen generator, stuff like that. I think I found him when I was looking up hydrogen powered vehicles, electric vehicles. So
I just don't think my HOA would like me to do that.
if I had my druthers, HOAs would be outlawed.
Yeah, I agree. Actually, there was one guy here in the HOA that told me he believes that we should get rid of it. And I'm like, yeah, I agree. But, getting
If
everybody
you can get several people on the slide who want to get rid of it and somehow do a publicity thing where you guys get elected to the board to replace the current board, every HOA must by law have a clause section in there to abolish it.
Oh, okay.
And if it doesn't, if it was old from before that time, you can add that. If the entire board votes that in, and then you can abolish the HOA, get rid of it, boom. Then if other people want to put it back in, they're going to find it's a tooth and nail fight to do it.
Yeah, exactly.
Especially the cities now say, wait a minute, it was voted out. There must be a reason it was voted out. We're not going to allow you to create one.
Right. Well, I will have to look in our HOA rules and see.
Charter. You got to look into the charter portion of it, the deep stuff, and see if there's something in there about ending the HOA. And if there isn't, you just get you get enough, the majority together where you can replace people replaced on it, where you have enough votes to say, oh, we're done, it's over. Because I've known several HOAs where the money the dues and stuff they're collecting is more than the expenses, and then they have to pad the expenses so they can keep the dues high, and they're pocketing the money.
Yeah, I've heard of that, actually.
Yeah. Well, we started at 7, and now we're coming up on 10 o'clock. Woo! I told you before we'd run 3 hours probably.
I know. I didn't believe you.
But yeah, there is. Yeah, since I started doing the emergency preparedness stuff, which is called survivalism back in the late 60s, early 70s, things have changed so much. Every so many years, oh, this is the way you have to do it, blah, blah, blah. Oh, wait a minute, we just discovered something that works better, and that just kind of goes by the wayside. Now we got something that works better. But yeah, there's science has changed a lot of prepping. Freeze dryers. We didn't have freeze dryers back in the 60s and 70s. Home freeze dryers, and there's a lot of things that have changed as far as what you can do. Solar energy has become big. Wind power now is becoming bigger, and especially with the companies that are using the helix models and stuff, because they're putting everything in there is recyclable. Unlike the big blade things, those are not recyclable. They're making all these components recyclable, smaller scale, so you can use it, put it out in your yard and it looks like a wind decoration.
Right, right.
There's just so much stuff, gear, clothing and stuff. Some of it's changed, some of it not for the good. There is something that chaps my hide is the BS put out by the synthetics industry. They're saying, oh, cotton kills. No, synthetics kill. Having worked winter and summer search and rescue at the northern rim of the Grand Canyon, those that died were not wearing cotton. They were wearing synthetics. Those that survived were wearing cotton.
Right.
And wool.
Natural fibers are best.
Natural fibers.
Yeah, because
synthetics, we're as good as down. No, you're not.
Yeah,
we're as good as cotton. No, you're not.
Yeah, synthetics don't really keep you that warm, and they really don't keep you that cooled off in the summer. They trap heat.
Yeah, and all right. For me personally, my personal experience. There, the 2 years in Fredonia, Arizona, in the north rim of the Grand Canyon. Anytime I went out, what was I wearing? Let's see, cotton socks or wool socks if I had enough. Cowboy boots. Yes, cowboy boots. Levi's, wool and cotton long johns. Several layers of cotton shirts, t-shirts, cotton thermals, Pendleton wool shirt,
right?
A sheepskin vest, and a Levi's horse blanket jacket. Now the Levi's was the Levi's outside, and it had what was called the horse blanket wool lining. Not a synthetic thing on there except for the elastic in the socks and the elastic in my underwear band. Did I ever get too cold where I couldn't stay out there? Nope. The people we rescued, were they the ones that were really freezing bad? What were they wearing? I'll give you 3 guesses, and the first 2 don't count. They were wearing the friggin' synthetic crap that didn't work.
So I think that David might be leaving because he says before signing off, he must compliment Stephanie and Gil. So thank you so much, David. Thank you for coming on and staying in. You were here for like
3 hours.
The entire thing. Yes, absolutely. I think there was only a few minutes. Yeah, but thank you so much.
Yeah. So, you've had this big push in prepping to go with all the synthetic stuff. The only synthetics I wear, and I do have several pairs of these, they are the Gore-Tex Gators. And what those do, they go on from if I get my shoe in here, they hook on the laces and go up to about here. And they're all elastic tight and everything else. And all they are is to keep the snow out of my boots when I'm wearing these type work boots. If I'm wearing cowboy boots, I don't wear them. Because, hey, cowboy boots come almost up to my knee anyways.
Yeah, but cowboy boots don't have much good traction on snow and ice. My experience.
Yeah, well, it depends on the soles you get on them. They now make the cowboy boots with the lug or waffle stomp soles on them.
Oh.
Plus, they also make the and that's Justin and Dan Post makes those. There's also a company out there that makes the snow and ice cleats for cowboy boots.
Wow.
Yeah. So but I have one synthetic jacket that the shell is synthetic, the inside is goose down. And I had that from the time I was
Oh, goose down.
13.
Didn't quite hear you, and then it finally registered. Yeah, goose
Yeah.
down.
Yeah. So
Yeah,
it's a synthetic
yeah,
shell
right,
with goose down in it.
right.
And that thing is from the 1972 Christmas.
Yeah, yeah.
And I still have it. It's a little snug on me. I need to
Yeah.
lose another 30 pounds, and then it'll fit back on me again.
Right. Do you think you will lose another 30 pounds?
Yeah. So I'm going to be. I'm going to have to get that on Monday. This Monday I won't be able to go live because my daughter's working. She's working double shift. All this Friday, Monday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. So the following week I'll start doing lives again, unless I do stuff on the weekends. So then I'll be doing I'll be kicking the weight loss challenge off for another 6 months. From July 2nd through the end of the year. But since last August, when Courtney was doing the weight loss challenge for Wide Family Farm, and before she kicked it off, I started losing weight in August, near the end of August. I was up to 217 pounds. I weighed myself this morning, 190. It's a
Awesome. Oh my gosh.
slow decline. I got to get down. I got to get down to 160, and then my wife will be happy because I weighed 150 when we got married, and at that time I didn't snore, and I didn't have the sleep
Apnea.
yeah, apnea. And so she's highly convinced, and she grumps and she's going to be grumping at me until I get down to 160. And if I get down to 160 and I no longer need the CPAP, yes.
Yeah, that would be good to be able to get rid of that machine. I'm sure you would be happy to do that. And I hope it happens. I hope it happens, Gil.
Yeah. But yeah, there are just so many things that you don't think about when you're young that you need to prep for. So for my CPAP, I have 100. I got a bag of 100 filters that go on it, the throwaway filters, but I don't throw them away. I get about 20 of them together. I take it a pan and I wash them all out and get all the crud out of them and stuff. So I save them.
Hi, Barry. Thanks
Hey, Barry. Yeah, I saw your video pop up. I'll go take a look at it once we're done here. Yeah, Barry had posted a video about 10 minutes ago, and it is CB Radio, How Bad Is It, Part 1. Actually, it was about 20 minutes ago he posted it. So, yeah, you guys want to know about radios and stuff, and radio communications, especially in disasters, check out Barry's channel, Storms, Radios, and Cats. Oh, yeah. So hopefully I'll be able to start the weight loss challenge up again and get some more people interested in it. And Garden Warrior Q is the captain for the Collective. She put up a face group page for anybody participating in it, and we share stories and things on for weight loss over there as well. So, but yeah, so I mean, I got a lot of stuff to do. These trips to California has put me way behind this spring on getting stuff done. Sometime in the next couple days, I've got to get the tractor out and change the attachments on it, put the brush hog on it, because I got 3 acres of weeds across the street to mow.
Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness.
Last summer, nothing grew over there much more than this tall. This spring, it's like, okay.
Oh, no.
Yeah.
Huh. And
then I also got to see about getting the Ford 9N running again, so I can use the big discs over there to disc stuff under. And that's the thing is, if you're getting farm equipment and stuff, Yeah, I love the old farm. My Ford 9N. It was built in 1939. Problem is, I've forgotten all my skills on how to work on gasoline distributors.
Oh,
Yeah, so I'm gonna have to start watching videos and stuff. So I gotta have to take it apart and change the rotors and everything else. Maybe just I got to figure out what I got to do to get that thing firing again. Because it runs a little bit and it acts like it's starting for gas, but the gas filters are clean, the carburetors have been replaced.
huh.
It's the rotor and points and stuff, distributor.
Oh, huh. And what would it cost to get a new distributor?
Well, it's not just getting the distributor. It's setting. Once you got you've got the distributor, you got a new condenser, new points, and you got to set everything just right in there. Make sure your gap's right and everything else for your spark. I checked the spark plugs. The spark plugs are all good and clean. So it's either the rotor, the cap, or it's the points and or condenser or whatever on it.
Hmm. Huh.
So either that or I got to convince my wife to, hey, let's go ahead and go all diesel. Get the bigger Coyote, the 30 horsepower Coyote that will handle the disc and have fun. Because then it's hydrostatic, has a hydrostatic transmission, and you can actually drive it. Yeah, there is definitely a skill set for driving an old clutch tractor.
It's been so many years since I've driven a tractor. Good grief. Like 1968, I think 68 was the last time I drove a tractor. I I wouldn't even, it had gears up here.
Yeah, well, this one here has a 3-speed with reverse down between the legs, and then on the side it has a high and low range. But it's like when I'm using the PTO for the brush hog.
Yes.
When I push in the clutch, I have to push in the clutch to disengage the PTO, but it also disengages the wheels from the transmission. But the wheels are still hooked up to the PTO. So as the PTO is still going, because that blade's still going, the wheels are still rolling.
Oh.
And then I get just enough where I can disengage the take it out of gear. Then, yeah.
Oh.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, it's one of the if you look at some of the old movies, the guy doing this, and this to do things. That's what you got to do on these old tractors.
Right. Hmm. Wow.
I just so love my Coyote with the hydrostatic. I put it in gear. I go forward. When I put it in gear, I go low range or high range, and then I got 2 paddles, forward and backwards. And the harder I push on the pedal, the more it goes.
Yeah. There you go.
So, yeah, I mean it's the hydrostatic on the tractors are amazing. I mean we had hydrostatic on the big 710 John Deere tractors, but then we also had 7 gears across the top. So we could start out in 7th gear, or we could start out in 1st gear. You start out in 7th gear, you're lugging, but you can start out and you go and you just play with the hydrostatic, and you can shift, and it's a hydrostatic shifter on it as well. So you pick up your speed for mobiling down the highway.
Wow.
But for the most part, it's just first or 2nd gear for most construction work, and your hydrostatic gives you your play within that gear range to do it.
That reminds me.
It's hydraulics over hydraulics, basically.
Right. So that reminds me of my zero turn, whatever it's called.
Zero turn lawn tractors.
Yeah. Yeah, because you push forward, it goes. You pull back, and it goes backwards. Yeah.
Hydrostatic.
Yeah, that thing is so much fun. Oh my gosh.
So, All righty. So I know some people are up late. And I think looking at everybody in here, everybody is still in here commenting. Oh, we picked up a couple more people watching. It jumped back up again. We're up to 9 people watching.
I see that.
So I don't think it's counting either my Gray Man or my Camppatton, because I haven't made comments on them in a while. So if I make comments, it may bump that up again and suddenly log in the time I've been on there and count it for you. So if you're just lurking there, please make a comment. At least that way YouTube starts counting the time you're watching. And did I do that right? TWI. And yes, I got 2 computers going here.
Oh,
and Shawnee's lurking. There it is. Okay. And we'll see if it jumps here in a minute, counting more time. Sometimes it'll count people even though they're not commenting. And sometimes YouTube doesn't count people.
Right. Well, so far it's still 9.
Yeah, it's still 9. So it may be counting because I commented at the beginning with those. Yeah. And anybody's wondering, Evil Twin is what I called when I was making comments on Gray Man Prepping. I used to say, "Hey, Evil Twin from Camppatton Family Compound."
Well, I really appreciate everybody who's watched this. And if anybody is watching this at the end, please, later on, if you're watching the replay, please leave a comment about the video. And be sure to go check out Gil's channels, Camppatton Family Compound, and also Gray Man Prepping.
Yeah. And if you hit the on the thing to unhighlight CR, the name should pop up below us here. So you don't. Right now you're highlighting CR. If you unhighlight them, or just you may have to just click on somebody new and turn them on and turn them off. Yeah. Now if you turn her off and click on her again, her comment will go away, or his comment will go away. Yeah, there we go. And there's our titles. And so CFC is Camppatton Family Compound.
Yeah, I didn't know that. That's awesome, Gil. Thank you for telling me about that.
Yeah. So yes, it is 3 separate words: Gray Man Prepping, with an A in gray, the American way of spelling it, not the English, British, and European way of spelling it. And I hope to, hey, Tails holding in the dark, how's it going?
Hello,
and
Tails.
I hope to be getting some next week to start getting out some more of the Your Prep for Today videos and get those out there with more ideas of things to think about in getting prepared.
Those are the best. Those are really the best reminders of things to think about, that you might need to have extras, these are things that you just have around all the time and you never think about running out, or, you think you're going to be able to just go to the store and pick it up, but you might not be able to. So it's better to store them up.
Yeah. I've even done some of those videos on different types of tweezers. And I did one on fingernail care with clippers, files, and stuff like that. Right. Sometimes people don't think about, having multiple tweezers around, different types, because there are pointed ones, there are the flat ones, there are heavier duty ones, and there are some real narrow, delicate ones. And then same thing with your fingernail clippers. There's fingernail clippers, the ones that have the built-in files on them. There are the flat cut, the curve cut. There are small ones, big ones. There's the side cuts, which are usually used for toenails. And there's a whole bunch of different ones to look at, of different type of things for what will work best for you.
Right, right.
And so,
So are you ready to call it quits, Gil?
Yeah, I'm ready to call it quits. And
Okay.
if you're new going over and looking at some of the stuff at Grayman Prepping, if you haven't gone back to the playlist and look at the old videos, you'll find interesting stuff back there.
Yes, absolutely. Okay, well,
Alrighty.
let's go ahead and end it then. Goodbye, everybody. Thank you so much for coming in. Bye, CR, Tales from the Dark, Shadow Scout, Star, if you're still in here, Barry.
Yeah, Shawnee.
Shawnee, David Lynn.
Yeah.
I don't know how many other people are in here, but Kaylin might be here. I don't know. Anyway,
Yeah,
thank you guys.
Kaylin's still there. Yeah.
Thank you guys so much. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Bye-bye.